Hey, what's good, folks? Ladies and gentlemen, hope you got your pets there as well. Welcome to the Smite Minor League. It's the finals. It's all come down to this one. I'm F. Dodd, hanging out here with my man JMacTucker, otherwise known as JMacTrucker. How's it going, buddy?
Stop. No, it's not trucker. Don't let him confuse you. Just because I'm from Texas, I'm not a trucker. I drive a mom-mobile, F. Dot. Come on.
That's true. We're excited to be here, though. We were here. If you guys didn't catch the broadcast yesterday, we had a lot of fun doing the semifinals, and now we're here in the finals. We've got Team 9 and Ragnarok GG up to bat, and I think it's going to be all about Mr. Salmon here in the mid lane, because he's got to deal with this Giannis. Giannis at this level can be really, really problematic, especially when paired up with the Jean Kui.
I mean, the big thing really between these two gods is they kind of play against each other in the way that you go for it. You pick the Poseidon because you don't want to deal with the portals. That's the big thing about Poseidon, is he stops the portal usage, but Giannis just does a lot of damage. He doesn't necessarily need to utilize and go through those portals all the time.
Yeah, just kind of able to use the damage and really focus on not being so utilitarian. Interesting start. I was staring at the solo laners, just kind of. Kek was guarding his blue buff, expecting sort of an invade, but nothing coming like that from the United.
I don't really think that there's so much invade potential with these two. I mean, Naja level 1 has the ring toss, and then you're going to have, the spear from Cullen. It's decent damage. Is he going to be able to out-secure Jean Kui? Quite possibly, because he's most likely going to be picking up that card at level 1 more than anything else.
Right now, important to look at the jungler on the Achilles. He's going to be going over the left-hand side. Went an aggressive route, and so now looking for the level 2 gank.
He's trying to get something here. Blinks right in the stun onto Dong Devourer. He has to go onto the run. The double dash through, and that's going to be first blood. The great Athelos securing it for Ragnarok.
That's how it's done, baby. That's how it's done. Great recognition of the character that he's playing and understanding and where to go from there. The great Athelos on this Achilles, from minute 1, he got his speed buff and then he went directly to red, knowing that speed buff, red, and a back camp will put you at level 2. And if you make that rotation quick enough, you're level 2 before the enemy dual lanes level 2. You come in with more abilities. In comes the blink, the stun, gets the first blood, starts his team off to a great start. This is a fantastic way to start the game.
And like you said, that's just great recognition of knowing your experience table values. Is 1 buff or 2 buffs going to get me level 2? No, I might need to grab something else alongside it. And that was enough to get him that level 2. And we know in the dual lane, it takes 2 full waves and the small minions of your buff camp to hit that level 2. Knowing that this early on, they're not going to have that, it's just a great rotation from him.
Now, Achilles, he's an early game character. Achilles is a guy that really makes use off of his base values, and he scales really nicely as well. But right away, he's got 2 points in his shield. He's going to start really pounding people with the stun and the heavy damage. 90% scaling on the ability as well. So once he backs, because he hasn't backed yet, once he backs, we should be able to see him do a decent amount of damage a little later on.
And he's running with the shirtless build there, meaning he's going to get that extra increased movement speed and the power on top of that. So this is really where the early game shines for Achilles, is getting that bonus stat that other gods would not inherently get.
Yeah, not only like you said, the power, but also the movement speed. As a jungler, movement speed is something that you definitely want to focus on, and looking at what he's able to do there and make those rotations. I mean, he was there, even if the Naja decided to go to the dual lane, he would have been there beforehand anyway. So
more action onto the dual lane. Dong Devourer taking a lot of poke, as well as Mr. CL. They're going to be able to get back to their safety of the tower, both of them under a quarter, but you can see again, great Athelos making this rotation. Might only be able to get the purple buff out of it, just depending on who steps forward onto it. He's going to blink in. The stun's going to connect onto Dong. He's going to be able to get away for the time being. The double dash is good to get some damage. And luckily for Mr. CL, he had his dash to get away, but both of them have to go back to the base.
Nice. And Rasama takes down Mr. Salmon with the turnaround play. Really clean. And he was getting ganked there by the jungler. The jungler decided not to go to the left side, just make the play in mid. Not only does Ragnarok GG push the enemy dual lane out, they don't get the kill, but they get the TKO. But the response from Nein was to gank mid, and Giannis just said no.
Henri-sama just said, you know what? You have fun trying that, but remember, I'm a Giannis. I do have a lot of damage. I do have a lot of ways to kind of get away from both of you. And that's kind of one of the unique things about Giannis is just how well he's able to deal with rotations, whether it be the portal, the threshold, slowing them down, and amplifying their damage. Giannis just an all-around great character, and it's surprising how long he kind of sat away from the meta.
I mean, yeah, Giannis is just always a character that I think needs to be taken a look at. The ability to walk through walls is great. I mean, damage, sure, whatever, but he just allows his team to be so safe or aggressive, and it's all in how you play it. Really, really nice stuff coming out from the character. So I think he's kind of always going to be relevant. Looking over at that gank on the left side, I do want to say that there was a kill there, but it was target prioritization. Athelos decided not to go for the Athena player, and because of that one, let one go away. This time around, Giannis not able to answer back.
That's just going to be a full commit onto him. You can see Mr. Salmon use his ultimate. Henri-sama tried to respond with his own, but was just unable to get through. And now Mr. Salmon has no mana. Ult coming through by Sylvanas. Gonna get a lot of damage out onto him, and Tusky as well. The sprint bursted through, but it doesn't matter. Kurokama's gonna get one. Athelos gonna get the other with that fatal strike.
Nice plays here. Oh, and he's gonna stop the back. The lazy back from the Naja. Speed buff on the jungler and the blink. There's a follow-up
blink in response. The blink for blink for blink. The ring bounce used perfectly there. Great idea by Andy. Throw it onto the Gold Fury to slow down the rest of your targets. He's gonna be able to get away. That's the kind of heads-up recognition you need on a Naja.
Clean Naja. Well, no, not clean. You know, he was clean getting away from a very dirty scenario. So no, F that. He wasn't supposed to be there. The great Athelos, though. I like the way this guy's playing already. He's just always pedal to the metal, looking for something to do. Right now, trying to deal with people as he gets punished for the invade.
The Whirlpool is not going to be enough to stop him out. He used that dash turnaround, gets the double stun with the shield.
That's a sash.
And the sash not going to hit from Andy. That's going to be enough for Athelos to get out of there.
The Achilles passive plus the speed buff. Ain't nobody catching up to him right there. Easy to get out of there, no problem. And so walks away, easy peasy.
Again, that's the power of this Achilles early on, is not many people are going to be building that extra movement speed that he's just going to get inherently through his passive. Shield bash not going to land on the Mr. Salmon. The Kraken use. The tidal wave is good. The shield wall, not enough damage, but Salmon will find it with the last basic attack. Almighty Keck just a little slow on that rotation to help him out.
Yeah, Ragnarok's problem. So straight up, Athelos made the wrong choice. He was too aggressive there. But this is something that you guys can take home to your own games. Even when an entire team making the wrong choice is a better option than split decision making. And so Athelos goes in there, and he's a little bit blood hungry. But Henri-sama and You Need to Ward 2 are just sitting there watching. Like, they see him going too hard. If Giannis goes in, if Sylvanas goes in, they might be able to turn that. You saw Athelos get some damage off. You got to work with your team even when they're making mistakes.
Andy Jack's making a rotation over to this red buff. Henri-sama not going to hit the portal. Sash going to be good, and up into the air he goes. The damage, though, isn't quite there. Needs something to follow up, and it will be Mr. Salmon going to find the first shot onto it.
Oh, big double taunt coming out from the Athena player. Meanwhile, up top, Athelos is taking care of Salmon, and Kuro Kawakaro going to pick up another one.
I want you, let's try that one again onto the name. I think it's Kuro Kawakauri is how it goes. We'll stick with Kuro.
Pretty sure it's Kuroko Wakauri, but I was definitely reading that as it appeared on my screen. I had not looked at the name before.
Look, I'll leave it how I always say for my AVGL players. Just get a normal name. Just have a normal name.
Kuroko Wakauri. I think that's a normal name.
It sounds like a Japanese name there.
Yeah, I'll call him Kuroka. There you go.
We can go with Kuroka. But then I'm going to think of Kuroko no Basket, and now we're thinking of a basketball anime, and that's a whole
I'm going to think about Hiroki Kuroda, and that's a baseball player, so
all right, well, there we go. We're both going different ways. In solo lane, they're trying to get something onto Leonidas, but Andy Jax is there to stop them. Almighty Keck out of mana. Might need to be careful here. The blinking from Andy, not going to find anything, and a great stun from Almighty Keck will hold Andy in place. The portal is going to get Henri-sama back to their safety. Ring bounce going to do just a little bit of damage.
Not the greatest play there from Andy. Blink is really important. If you're investing into it at level 1, it's really important to you personally. And using that blink right there with no kill potential is kind of a questionable decision. That said, I would have liked to see Andy actually stick around. He's got all the mana in the world. He can just sit there and continue to toss rings at the Jean Kui, stop him from backing, maybe get a kill, but more importantly, annoy him and take his time up. That's your job as a jungler.
Especially with your ultimate still up now. I don't know quite if he had that during the engagement at that time, but he had it up after he had left that lane, and now looks like they might be trying to get something here onto Henri Sama. He's sitting about a third HP. He's getting pincered here onto the tower. Andy not going to get the sash. Aegis going to be used very early on to taunt in, and that's going to secure his death. Mr. CL getting one, and Salmon getting the Kraken onto Athlos. Looked like he just walked back in that, but almighty cat, he's going to return one.
Yeah, and he's on the run, chasing Andy down. Andy jacks faster because of that speed buff. But if Andy turns around and decides to fight, he could get in trouble. Ultimate from Leonidas, and nobody cares. Keck gonna walk up, and Andy knows better than to stick around, so easy lane for Keck.
He's just gonna throw out that ring bounce to get that extra movement speed on those creeps and take himself on back to the base. A great pincer maneuver there by Team 9, recognizing that it's just a Giannis. He's very low in mana. He's very low in HP. We got to bait that relic out early, and we can get a quick and easy kill under this tower. Pull it off flawlessly, pick up 2 kills of their own. Yes, they dropped 1, but getting 2 makes it a worthwhile trade for him.
Keck going for an interesting item here. He's going for the Celestial Legion helm, which I think is a very poor choice, actually. Leonidas' direct opposition has built-in mystical mail with physical, right? Like that's what Kukulkan does. So he's never really going to have those stacks. Mid lane is strong.
Big action coming through, and now Mr. CL going to be knocked up into the air, pulled back, and into the trap he goes, and Athlos, he'll secure the final one onto that. The ultimate expended by Henri Sama earlier on to get the team back into mid lane to help secure those kills. 3 for none. Looking at it like it's going to be a gold fury here for Ragnarok as well.
Yeah, this one's easy. Here comes Hachiman, so we'll have to watch out for the big double D. Dong Devour on the run, looking over the wall. Gold Fury already down. The Hunter from 9 can't do anything. Athena ultimate a little bit too late. And so 9 will have to look on. 4,000 gold in the lead for Ragnarok.
Well, now it's looking like it's a slap boxing fight here in Kurokawa and Dong Devour, but Kurokawa's getting the better end of it, being 2 levels up for the time being. He's just going to have that inherent base damage. It's going to be a little bit higher than them. And with both of them going into the Devourer's Gauntlets, attack speed boots versus the power boots. Tell me a little bit about this option here for Kurokawa versus Dong Devour.
So when you're looking at Dong Devourer, he's going to have the built-in attack speed on his banner. It gives him a whole ton of it. Something like 15% at a very low spot. Yeah, 15% with all the 5 points in it. So it's actually really big. He doesn't really have to go into the attack speed boots. He can afford to go into Warrior Tabby. Whereas with Artemis, the extra attack speed is going to be nice, but also the mana. Artemis is really mana hungry. And so that extra mana on those boots is a big deal.
Mana, definitely one of Artemis's biggest problems in the game is being able to manage that throughout the entirety of it, especially in the early game when your abilities just cost so much to clear out the wave. The Hunter's Blessing does help her out some, helps her be able to sustain just a little bit more, and that's kind of one of the benefits of a Dong Devour on that Hachiman as well, is he has the built-in mana per 5 through his passive. I'm going to take a couple of shots in the jungle, but right back to lane, the 2 of them go.
Leonidas over here trying to invade on the blue buff, but he's got the 2v1. Achilles makes his way over here. Meanwhile, mid lane, we see Najah jumping on Mr. Ward. Not a big deal whatsoever. The level 10 Sylvanas able to walk away, no problem.
See, we needed to have this Sylvanas in the game that we talked about yesterday when they had 0 wards on Ghost Seeker. That way he could have been like, hey, Ghost Seeker, you need to ward too. But
there you go.
But hey, at least the support's out front. At least support's out front here saying, hey, I'm not the only one who can buy wards in this game. It's only 50 gold. You can get one too. And place it. That's the important part, is not only buying the ward, but placing it.
Yeah. You know what I like to do in my games is you can buy the wards and then sell them, and buy the wards and then sell them repeatedly.
Oh my God.
But it's still it puts the thing in chat. FSwag has purchased a ward. FSwag has purchased a ward.
One of those.
So it looks like you're doing your job, but you're not. So.
Oh my gosh. F dot, please. Don't teach these guys that strategy. They don't need to be picking up these bad habits.
So people are like, oh man, you're not placing any wards, and you're like, boom, boom, and it's like, all right, thanks for buying those wards, and then you sell that stuff, and you buy a Deathbringer.
All right, that's the play. You don't
Right
need wards
side
when you
is
got a
the play.
Deathbringer. Leonidas, he's gonna get the Athena right on top of him, so he's gonna be fine. And with the card missing from Almighty Keck, really no follow-up onto that. There's 4 people on this right side looking for something. The pull from Mr. Ward not going to connect, and I think that's gonna spell the end of that attempt.
I like Ragnarok making this play right here on the right-hand side. Leonidas has been not in the lead, obviously, but kind of troublesome, believe it or not, despite the fact that Keck had gotten the first kill. So Ragnarok are winning the game other places. They take the Gold Fury, then they make the rotation to the right side, knowing there's no objective threat.
Good lord, the ring toss is big, but the Kraken is even bigger, and Andy Jax will find the last one.
Sure.
It gets used by Salmon, the fatal strike, but up into the air they go. Dropping him down, it's not enough to kill him. Great Athos still living, but Almighty Keck all the while on this rotation. He's picking up 2. The slow on to Andy Jax, not going to be enough. Kurakawa's going to get 1 in the mid, and Henri going to come through the wall and pick up the last one onto the jungler. 4 for 1. Support, the only one to fall on Ragnarok. Pyromancer next. All the worthwhile for
they're
Ragnarok.
going for the big boy. Artemis level 15, a little bit early, but she does have that crit passive. Keck here has some decent damage, most notably the Spear of the Magus that'll set up Giannis to do a little bit more damage.
Henri needs to.
Giannis
Henri
is
can't get
gonna
off
die.
this. Yeah,
Giannis-
he can't get off that one. Fire Giant's gonna be good. Dong Devourer is now in onto the horse, but he's gonna walk through the fire twice. Great Athlos blinks in, going on to him. The stun's gonna be good, and that's gonna spell the death of the Dong Devourer. Fire Giant had to be leased there. Just too much damage for them early on, with no proper tank to hold that one either.
Yeah, I mean, if they share that aggro instead of just the Giannis taking it the entire time, they get that. Well, first of all, it is correct not to distribute the debuff because the debuff makes you take less damage or do less damage. Mr. Salmon clearly not debuffed there, level 15 on the Poseidon, and they will just go ahead and smack the map.
No, I agree there. On the Fire Giant, they should have passed that off. The problem is they passed off too late. After that second rotation of abilities that comes through from the Fire Giant, after the rocks are thrown, you have to change the aggro at that exact instant. Otherwise, it's going to create the ring of fire around the pit, and you're just going to take damage with walking out. So he was stuck no matter what, and the portal gonna prevent the knockup going through. Ult onto the support. Not enough to kill him, but one more in-hand is all that Andy needs. Unstable Vortex chunking through both, and here comes Keck. The ult expended through Mr. CL. He's not gonna go through that ultimate either, and Almighty Keck with another big double kill.
Just easy peasy. Dong Devourer in the wrong neighborhood. He'll be able to dash away. And guess what's up? Gold Fury. Ragnarok GG making great plans.
Gonna get this one through. Dong Devourer still in the neighborhood here, and Great Athlos trying to find him. He will. He's gonna dash in and hit him, and that's gonna be the force of Dong Devourer up onto the Warhorse, but Athlos says, no sir, take you and your horse to the grave. Picks up 1, the Gold Fury, and now Leonidas on the wrong end of this spell here. He's gonna get stunned out by Almighty Keck and bursted down. Henri Sama getting the final hit for it.
Ragnarok right now in nice position to just go ahead and take the rest. Ragnarok right now is in great position to go ahead and take the rest of this game. Almighty Keck here, just nice start on the Zhonghui, and this is what Zhonghui does when he gets a lead. He just becomes oppressive. Nein is not going to be able to deal with him. They've got a single shell. It's very tough. The game plan for Nein is lucky because they do have a Naja. Naja needs to ult Keck and then make sure stuff dies while he's in the air. That's their time window.
It gets used by Athlos as the Kraken, used by Mr. Salmon. Not able to find the kill for that one. Just getting chased down. The blink used as well by Athlos. That's going to be a win for him, getting the Aegis Relic away from Salmon as well. Just a lot expended in the chase of Salmon, but really not much to be gained from it aside from just sending him back to base.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're talking about pushing him away from the farm, so that's all well and good, but...
Well, Athlos going to go back and get his speed buff now, because it looks like he stole away the one from Andy Jackson. That's just the worst feeling in the world as a jungler, is losing that speed buff. I mean, it's the most important game. It's the most important buff of the game, F. Dot. Jungler out of his speed buff, Jungler's not happy, and it's game over.
Yeah, easy. I want a speed buff above a fire giant half the time.
I mean, I want a speed buff as a support. Let's be real. I'm running around, especially, you know, when you're playing as like a Sylvanas, you don't have any way to dash or move forward. So you just want to be the fastest tree in North America. And so, you know, you start picking up movement speed items and you just kind of sneak away your jungler's speed buff whenever he's not looking. Then you're the fastest tree ever.
Yeah, sure. That sounds like a good way to make friends.
I mean, it's the best way to make friends. And right now, unfortunately for Andre Summit, he's not making too many friends in the middle of 4 people, but Athlos is able to trade out 1 forward, mid for mid down, but Kurakawa, he's going to get one of his own, and great Athlos, he'll take a second with his Fatal Strike, looking to be a third as Leonidas is just on the run, surrounded by nothing but blue shorts. Make that a big 3 for great Athlos. Triple kill for the jungler. 10, 2, and 11.
Athena coming through. She's here. They don't know she's here. Athena doesn't really have the world's greatest steal potential, but we're still looking. Athena getting ready. She gotta go now. What are you doing? She's gonna watch.
Late. Much too late. Charging up that dash way too late. She should have had that preemptively charged up so that way she could just run right in. But instead, it's going to be the Fire Giant going the way of Ragnarok, and they're just very wisely pushing down these towers. They may or may not get a Phoenix in this push, but if they can get all 3 of the remaining towers off of the map, that alone will be a worthwhile Fire Giant.
Absolutely. I mean, the Fire Giant just by itself, that's a win. It's going to put more gold in their pocket. 12,000 gold up right now. It is Ragnarok. They're in the driver's seat. I think it's just a matter of time. 20 minutes and a half, and we're... yeah, level 19 on the Artie, level 19 on the Zhang. This is a great siege composition. Nine are going to have a hard time defending, and I don't want to see them defend this tier 2. Their positioning right now is questionable.
Salmon was moving up there a little bit, but he wisely backed himself off there. That's going to be all 3 of the remaining towers now off the map. Ragnarok have complete map control, only missing out their tier 1 in the mid lane, and they still have almost 3 minutes left on this Fire Giant buff before it will fade away. Great usage of their time. That's the important thing to note at these lower level games is how well do they utilize their Fire Giant buff? And so far, they've gotten 3 towers and a Pyromancer off of it.
Yeah, you got to be able to make use of what you put in the effort for, right? I mean, essentially, the game is you save up a bunch of money until you get to the point to execute this and then get more money. The rich get richer. Welcome to Smite. Welcome to MOBAs. So Ragnarok taking that Fire Giant, yeah, did exactly what they needed to do, cleaned everything up, and now let's just see them group up, go for the left lane, the furthest from the Fire Giant, take out the Phoenix, take out the Titan. And that's exactly what they're doing. Love the calls.
I love the split up here. They're letting Almighty Keck push up the mid lane alone, and they're looking like they're trying to group up here onto this left-hand side. They got the other 4 players on that side of the jungle. Instead, right now, they're kind of grouping around this Gulf here, not really pushing directly forward. Now with that wave cleared out, those members will start to group up. Those towers in the left side are gone. Almighty Keck now grouping back up with the team now that mid lane has been pushed up.
So right now, just kind of, Gold Fury is sure more of a why not. Fire Giant, what button is it for the Fire Giant?
The F7 will bring up the button onto that one. It's still a minute and a half left on the Fire Giant buff. They got to get something more out of this. They've gotten 2 objectives. They've gotten 3 towers. They really need to get a Phoenix, and it does need to be this left-hand side one. And now Mr. CL walking up just to try and get the bubble off of the jungler is going to end up costing him his life. Up into the sky goes Anti-Jax, but it's not nearly enough damage. And Athlos is going to turn that around with Almighty Keck getting the first shot. Through space and time, used just to move the team even further forward. The Kraken's going to come out on the 2, but it's just going to tickle them.
Artemis finds the volley and the shot after the fact. Sends out Tusky, creeps up the trips. The Phoenix goes down. JMac, this could be it.
It's looking like it is. It's going to be 10 seconds before Mr. CL is up, and the Titan is already at half HP. Ragnarok are going to be taking game number 1 here in the grand finals.
Wonderful. That was just clean Smite. Giannis got picked off a bunch, but kind of the sacrificial lamb for the squad. Still able to be part of 20 out of 29 kills. Ragnarok GG. I mean, this is the team that we didn't get to see on stream yesterday, and they're kind of showing us that maybe we should have watched them.
Maybe so. And not only that, being a part of 20 kills for the mid laner, 26 kill participation for the jungler. 10-16, almost a part of the entire span of kills on the map. Great Athlos has not only a great Achilles, but a great map presence. And that's what you really want from your jungler, is knowing where to be, when to be there, and being there to execute your damage and be the teammate that your guys need, especially in the jungle role.
Yeah, and again, just the understanding of what he's trying to do and how he's trying to do it with the Achilles. He's early game. He's got a tremendous level 2. Make sure to, from the beginning, his pathing was to make it to that dual lane and start the game off with a kill. He did that, and then from that point on, he just Almighty Keck got a solo kill, and he said, "Okay, I'll assist a little bit," but he knew where he had to be. Very important, very intelligent stuff coming out from Achilles.
And you in the audience can vote for the MVP to think who do you guys think was the MVP into that one. We got 3 really powerful players here to have potential of taking that spot. Great Athlos with his insane jungle presence, as well as Kurakawa in the late game really came up and started shining with those crits built into Artemis's passive, just getting the big numbers out. And Henri Sama as well, part of 20 of those kills himself. Had the most deaths onto the team, was kind of the fear of the team, but when you put out the kind of mobility and utility that he did, really helped out his team.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, JMac, you had Achilles be the MVP in the early game. Zhang Kui was the MVP in the mid and late game. And then Artie came through in the late game and was literally the one who had the game-winning play in the cleanup of the team fight. He cut off the path from everybody else. Just beautiful pathing, beautiful understanding, and it looked like he was communicating it to the rest of the team as well, because they knew to hang out on the left while he took the Giannis portals all the way up. All of that was really, really smooth. I'm glad I don't have to make the choice.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough choice to make here, but really what it also came down in that last play was Mr. CL was all alone up front, just trying to break the Magi's blessing off of the Great Athlos, and he did so successfully. But then he got stunned and then pulled into the team, rooted, and then killed. And that's just what happens when you're level 13 trying to take a bubble from a level 20 and everybody else is at least level 15 or higher on the enemy team and you're all alone. That just kind of started the train rolling there for the team to break it down.
Yeah, a little bit rough there. Nein not able to really just not able to do anything, just unable to really get off the ground. Mr. Salmon had some really good opportunities, and I would have just preferred to see Andy Jack stay in that mid lane and really harass Giannis a little bit more. 4, 5, and 16, he did what he could, I guess, but Mr. Salmon, Mr. Poseidon had the best chance to really get Nein out of the gutter and was just unable to do that.
Well, it's a good thing that we don't have to make the decision because the audience has now chosen their MVP. Almighty Keck on the solo lane. Zhang Kui in a landslide is going to be your game 1 MVP for Ragnarok.
Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Like I said, I mean, there was kind of a standout player for each part of the game for the Blue Squad, but Zhang Kui was both mid game and late game kind of king. So I like that. I agree with the fans.
Well, we're going to go ahead and take it to a short break. When we come back, game number 2, it's a best of 5 set here between Ragnarok and Team 9 in the grand finals of the Smite Little League. So stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Hello and welcome back. It's game number 2 here. Team 9 versus Ragnarok. Here in the grand finals of the Smite Little League. Ragnarok got the advantage in game number 1. Almighty Keck getting that MVP. After we talked a little bit about that John Quee, but now we're going to see him on the flip side. Instead of fighting the Colon, he's going to be the Colon.
Yeah, after getting bullied around, well, I guess he did the bullying on the Jean Quee, but without that being an option, I think he wanted just to go a little bit more aggressive. Jean Quee's great in the mid and the late, but has a troublesome early game. So Keck,
Invade here onto the speed. The root's going to be good. The crush thrown out for the mid laner, but it's not going to be enough. Andy Jack's taking a spill. And there's support you need to ward too. Well, sometimes you need to get a kill too. He'll take the first blood for Ragnarok.
Yeah, that was just a classic. Group up as 5 and squish him real quick. It honestly shouldn't stop the opposition from getting to speed. Ragnarok might not even. No, I think they'll be okay because sure they get 500 first blood bounty, but it actually would be funny if it actually set them behind.
Well, we'll see. Everybody's trying to head back to that lane there. Everybody's a little far behind. The jungler and the mid laner will get back to theirs. So like Solo will make it just in time. I don't think anybody on Ragnarok is going to miss out on that experience. And nobody on Team 9 missing out on anything either. Speed will be able to be picked up, no problem.
With a start like that, it's important to realize that it's not a giant win. It feels like it because you invaded them. You got 5 dudes on top. Yeah, haha. But that doesn't. You're not auto winning the game anytime soon. So it's very important for these guys to just take it in stride and go, all right, we did it. Let's play regular Smite like it never happened almost.
Yeah, well, purple buff is going to be dropped by Team 9 onto the bottom side. Jungler making the rotation over one more time. Athlos helping to drop their purple buff this time. And Mr. Salmon's taking a lot of damage from this red buff. He's going to have to be real careful going back into lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know why he took so much damage from it, but now he's got it, and it's kind of important for him to have it in the early game as a Scylla.
I think Scylla is one of those few mages who really needs that red buff early on, just because her early game damage is just so small compared to other gods.
Yeah, she just doesn't have any, so really important that she's able to grab that one and hopefully, clean up her early game a little bit better than we're used to seeing.
Well, Jack's going to get the root onto Athlos, hit him with the Prana Onslaught as well, but just going to be a little bit of poke damage shot off on him, just saying, you know what, I see you here, I see what you did to me, I'm just going to go ahead and move on from it.
So where are you looking for somebody to make a play here? Are you expecting the support since they got first blood to while out, or what are you expecting here from the squad?
I really do want to see this duo lane go hog wild here. It is a Sylvanas Apollo, a very high-pushing duo lane, and right as we say that, they're going to pull Mr. CL in. Trying to block the dash, he's going to be knocked up. He's going to have to recharge it. Mr. CL blocked off perfectly. Kurakawa going to get the first blood of the duo lane, and in response, Henri-sama's going to get another kill for them in the mid lane, thanks to help with great Athlos.
Yeah, Ragnarok GG starting things off just the way they did in game number 1. Their direction really, really nicely. Again, just what can you say? It's clean Smite, JMac. It's clean Smite.
And really one thing that kind of sets this lane apart here for Athena, at least, is you have to remember every time she's interrupted or cancels the charge up of her dash, she has to recharge it. And Kurakawa had the perfect timing to use his dash, knocks her up out of the charge, and now she has to redo it one more time. He's able to put himself in a position where he's close enough after her dash to be able to get those last basics needed to drop her down. That's just great heads-up play by Kurakawa.
Yeah, just understanding exactly what his role is to the squad and making use of the Apollo passive. Apollo definitely has early game kill potential between not just his ability to get in and out of the fight with the dash, but all of his abilities, including the passive, very, very big for the early game.
3 members of Team 9 grouped up here in mid lane, kind of sharing a lot of experience here into the mid lane. Kind of this season, we saw a little bit of drop of this 3-way splitting. We kind of saw more towards a lot of individual waves and then maybe splitting with your junglers. So putting 3 people over here this early is going to put Salmon a little further behind than he probably wants.
Yeah, at the same time, I mean, Salmon's got bigger fish to fry. No pun intended. He just gotta sit there under the tower and deal with it. He's a Scylla. He's not supposed to make an impact now. Just chill and just don't get too mad.
No. The fish was in the game last time, and that's who Salmon played. I mean, I get you're trying to go with his name here.
Mr. Salmon.
Is he gonna fry himself?
Yeah.
I mean, fried salmon is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what? Why don't you go fry yourself, Jamie?
Well, they're trying to get something onto Leonidas here under the solo lane. The war cry using great Athlos picking up his first kill of the game. 4 for the team, 1 for everybody but Almighty Keck as he sits there now with just 2 lone assists for him. But now with 4 kills on the board for Ragnarok, they're really starting to push this forward.
Oh, Kuroka backing in lane. Don't do that. Oh, you can't do that.
The reach is actually what got him there, and Andy Jax expended his ultimate almost for nothing because of it. Not really expecting that reach to probably get the kill onto it, but it's going to be a good return kill there for Team 9. Like you said, Kurokawa, you just can't be backing in lane like that.
Yeah, absolute wrong spot to be. Just, yeah, not a good look whatsoever. Woof.
Does have his ultimate, can come back here, and now Onrysama is going to get stunned out by the EI Jutsu, and here's the ult from Kurokawa, knocking up both members, and you need to ward 2. Going to pick up his 2nd kill of the game. Dawn Devourer now on the run, but Kurokawa used all of his mana to get back to the lane and the fight after, so he's not going to have any to try and continue the fight on Dawn Devourer.
Yeah, just not able to really keep up with, here comes Andy. Doesn't want it, though.
Damn it, he doesn't want this either, but
from Athelos, and then Arasama's going to come around as well. Bad spot for 9.
Oh, Onrysama, he's just trying to run away. The beads used. Not going to be enough, Mr. CL. He just can't find it. Now the blink in. Good route by Andy Jax. It's going to make great Athletes have to jump back to his tower. Just kind of all around a lot expended there and no blood spilled.
Yeah, it was really good disengage from 9 because, like I said, they were in a bad spot. And Ragnarok, they have almost a 2,000 gold lead here, more like 1,500, but still something worth talking about. And with that kind of lead, you got to be looking for the engagements, but at the same time understand that you're not unkillable.
I mean, it is the early game. You're not, 5-6 levels up at this point. Even just a single level or maybe even 2 levels, it's not that drastic of a disparity for you to start thinking that maybe, hey, I got 2 levels up. I can kill this guy. I mean, we've seen crazy plays happen, especially when you start getting, crit involved, like with Artemis last game. All of a sudden, you're like, yeah, I'm hitting for 80. Okay, she's only hitting for 60. Okay, she hit me for 120, 120, 120. What happened here?
Yeah, just gotta be aware. I mean, that's the thing. Always be pressing tab. Always be aware of how much damage you're going to be able to output or take in.
Almighty Keck proxy farming here. Leonidas, no mana, and Andy Jack's going to try and do something here, but the war cry to immune out the slow. Andy does still have the root, but with both of them at such low mana, I don't think that they can actually fight Almighty Keck. The dash and taunt in from Mr. CL. Almighty Keck is just sitting here laughing at the 3 of them as he's walking past them. Uses that dash, and the ultimate from Onrysama will guarantee to get him out and maybe look to try and dive onto somebody here.
Oh, the pull!
Like Leonidas, the pull from Unity to Ward has been on point this game.
Really, really, really nice Sylvanas play. The first game, kind of everybody else was performing, and I guess he didn't have to be in the spotlight, and that's the sign of a beautiful support, right? Just let your team do their thing, but when they need help, you can be the helper, and he shows up with it.
And that's really the big thing on the Sylvanas too, is Sylvanas pulls are some of the most important pulls in the game, some of the most important abilities in the game. That's what separates the okay Sylvanases from the really good Sylvanases, is the ability to hit those pulls without any setup.
Yeah, I mean, just being able to freehand a Sylvanas pull can really change the character and what it feels like. I mean, you compare Dardas' Sylvanas, who hits, just 95% of them plus off the eye test, to anybody else's Sylvanas, and it's not the same impact in the game.
Well, Double D and Kurokawa just kind of fighting out here over onto the left-hand side. Dong really wants to get some damage out of Kuro, but for now they're just content with hitting the wave, trying to hit each other, but they're both just out of that little range. It's always the fun part early on, especially like the level 1 when both of you meet up into the lane. It's like, all right, who's gonna get that first in hand? Because everybody knows the first basic wins the game. I mean, it's the win. It's guaranteed.
That's just how you win the game. You got to get the first basic. Without that, I mean, well, what's to say?
Jax getting aggressive. We need to ward here. Gonna be able to get the knockup onto 2 members. Rooted out. Andy Jax thrown back into the team. Trying to use it to jump through, but it's not gonna matter. He's gonna fall. Kurokawa not getting the knockup thanks to the portal from his teammate actually keeping Mr. CL, but Onrysama, he's gonna pick up 2. Kurokawa dashes forward, and he's gonna pick up 1 of his own, and now poor Mr. Salmon, he's actually gonna turn 1 and get it for himself, and that might just be enough to keep him alive.
Yeah, he's going to stay alive, but if he sniffs too close to this Gold Fury, he's dead really quickly. Does have the ultimate, though. Got to be careful. Gold Fury, on the other hand, is kind of low, but Athena's coming. They have to leash.
Sama just smacks him in the face with the Unstable Vortex and says, hey, what are you doing here? You've only got a quarter HP. You can't be fighting into all of this. Gold Fury picked back up, but you gotta be careful. Mr. CL is still here. He does have steal potential. Good pull. Gold Fury's still not dead yet, but Ragnarok will grab it.
Nice job from Ragnarok. Not clean, as I said before. A little bit sloppy. We got sauce on our shirt, but we're good right now. Ragnarok, 4,000 gold in the lead, looking to set themselves up for a second victory, perhaps.
Oh, Andy. Andy just gets the blink in, the Prana Onslaught. Use that overhead kick to avoid the madness, but just taking too much damage between the jungler and the hunter. Kurokawa getting the last hit for that one, bringing the scoreboard up to 11-3 now for Ragnarok.
I mean, here now for Nine, what you got to start thinking about is how you can immediately turn things around, because things are not looking good for you and the fam right now. So you got to look at what success you do have and what late game you do have. You got to just start looking at Mr. Salmon to make plays later on.
Devour put a lot of poke into Kurokawa. I thought he was going to full commit onto it. Might here, he's going to get the banner. Up onto the horse he goes. The EI Jutsu going to be mezzed out and dashed away. Kurokawa now with the minion staring him down. He's going to have to back off. That fight could have gone either way, and that's what we were saying is you get one little level and it's not enough. But now Leonidas solo side, he's going to take a spill.
Oh, there's another one coming out from the jungler, and then mid lane, Mr. Salmon able to stand on his back heels.
Athlos might fall here. The ultimate in from the Athena. Mr. CL gonna get him, and not in time. Handy Jax now has to run because Almighty Keck is chasing him down, and he's gonna get it with the ultimate. And now the rest of the team is here to grab Mr. CL. The pull just off the mark from You Need to Ward. If he grabbed that, that would have for sure been the kill on the support. But they will trade out 2 for none for Ragnarok.
Well, Pyromancer, though, started up here. Athena too low. Athena can't be here. Oof. Very, very lucky that Ward didn't decide to kind of cut him down. Pull off the mark. The Pyro was leashed. I don't know about that.
Well, it's because there's too many people here. Mr. CL is just getting battered down by the ticks from Almighty Keck's rage form, and now they turn side onto Mr. Salmon into the mid lane. He's trying to run away, but Great Athos going to use that ult. I'm a monster right in place, and that's going to turn it around for him. And Mr. Salmon, unfortunately, though, he will take a spill, but trades out to the very... Man, you always feel it's like, yes, I'm not gonna... Oh, there was one more tick.
Yeah, getting the kill, I mean... Would I rather seen the Scylla back off or get the kill there? I mean, she's level 11. Technically, it's a lead above her direct opposition. So maybe the kill was very important, but Tier 1 tower not going to be defended there. Never was going to be defended there. I don't mind the kill.
Trying to go for a rotation here onto Dong, but very quickly able to get well behind his Tier 2. And now Andy Jax again, kind of just in this awkward spot trying to help his team, but it always seems that when Andy makes these rotations that there's 2 or 3 more people there to stop him.
Yeah, he's really not he's not been able to really find much, unfortunately, but Ragnarok are just doing a great job of being all over the map. They've been everywhere individually, and then as soon as something tilts in their favor, that's when they group up and they coalesce together and create this ball of death. And so Ragnarok just really, man, this is much more mismatched than the semifinals were.
Well, right now we're hitting kind of this early mid stage of the game. Everybody's starting to get to that level 10 to 12 mark for most of the damage dealers. Supports obviously not going to be quite there in time. So as this kind of mid game hits, where are we looking for this turnaround for Team 9?
If we find one, it's not going to come anytime. Well, with only 4,000 gold down, it's not completely out of reach. It's all coming from Scylla, essentially. That's what you're looking at. Protect Scylla, let her attack and be really, really offensive. Make sure that you don't let Ragnarok get any objectives for free, especially because you have that Scylla. Scylla is really, really important right now for this team.
Back onto the Pyromancer. Ragnarok tries 4 members here. Mr. CL again, finding the 5th member of the team as Kurokawa makes a rotation. Beautiful Sikkim, the crush not popped. The Aegis has to be used instead because he got pulled back, and Almighty Keck will find Mr. CL, and Salmon's gonna take a spill. Kurokawa getting a 3rd one for the team, and unfortunate for Andy, he is just in the middle of this chaos, and the support Unit Award 2 picks up his 3rd kill, now on a killing spree.
That was the fight that Nein needed. And unfortunately, it leads to a virtual team wipe and a fire giant in the other direction. Leonidas was a little bit too far away from the squad, and everybody was spread out in general. Leonidas eventually winds up with a great double stun, which is a second too late to peel for his teammate, and nobody's there to capitalize off of the stun. Leonidas, unfortunately, just not as grouped up with the rest of the team, and that is the play that breaks the back of the game, JMac. 8,000 gold now is the lead, and it is just a very scary spot. Being down 4K at 12 minutes, not that big a deal. 8,200 and a fire giant at 15 minutes. Well, now you've been upgraded.
And the thing is it went from 4K to 8K almost immediately with a 4-man wipe, a pyro, and FG. They're gonna try and relieve this with the Gold Fury, but Kurokawa is in the area. Gold Fury not being burned quick enough. Teleporting from Leonidas. Kurokawa is gonna try, but just a hair too late onto that one.
Very good.
Taunt in onto Kurokawa. Ultimate in from the mid laner. But Kurokawa, he looks like he's going to be out for the time being.
This is the wrong choice. They made the right choice directly into the wrong choice. They should not have stayed. Dog Devourer to get devoured himself. Should not run towards Leonidas.
Portal comes through and onto the war horse. Leonidas goes. We didn't even make note of that. This is the double horse team.
Yeah.
We got both the horse riders here.
Well, it doesn't seem to matter because Ragnarok are jockeying in themselves in the position.
Henri Sama just has no cares for who is on the main team and where Almighty Keck goes through the portal, and he'll pick up 1. The other 4 members, they're under the Phoenix. The tier 2 tower gonna shortly fall to Ragnarok. This game just has been broken open with that 4-man wipe as well as the fire giant. I mean, this is looking dangerous for Team 9 now.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I told you everything was looking at this Scylla, and I don't like the build. Oh, I don't like the build. Laning phase is over. The Warlock staff is way too late to buy this. There are other options if you want to be tanky, but that is the wrong mentality. She should just go Boots, Bancroft, and literally any other relevant option. I could see any other item there, but the idea of the Warlock staff is not going to be successful because you're just not going to be able to sit there and farm like you were the last time. It's all about siege.
Yeah, the big thing is that Warlock has the 12-minute mark is usually the point for it, but now up into the fight they go. Mr. CL thrown back into the fray by the team. The Kurokawa is going to get the final smack onto that one. Make it 5 for himself. Tier 2 tower now turned on by Ragnarok. They're going to drop that very quickly. No more towers left on the map. Mr. CL down for 14 and 5 strong of Ragnarok pushing down this Phoenix. Mr. Salmon being zoned out by Great Athlos. Dong Devour not able to help save his Phoenix there. It's just going to be 5 members of Ragnarok dropping the Phoenix, taking their back off.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a free Phoenix. Not only did Kuroka have his passive up and everything, there just was no way to defend. I mean, this is a bad spot for Apollo to be in, and he'll likely get out because he's just so... I don't know about that. He ulted, and he does get out. Oh,
How
man.
does he get out of that one? He is... I guarantee he had to have had 12 HP at that point. It just needed 1 more in hand, but nobody could find it. And he gets up into the sky and out of danger. Kurokawa.
I mean, he's the highest level in the game, right?
Yeah, tied with it with his jungler and solo lane for highest level. And Mr. Salmon dropped through the portal. The pull just off the mark, as well as through space and time. Henri Sama not going to find the last hit onto that one. Leonidas charging forward with Andy Jax, but really they can't do a whole lot here. You need to ward. He's just going to root out Andy. They'll back off.
Ragnarok right now just got to calm down. That's the biggest thing for them right now. They have a giant lead. I mean, anytime you're over 10,000 is really, you know, it's your game to win. And if you lose, it almost certainly was your fault. So with this type of lead, I mean, group, push, slowly. Right now, Fire Giant coming up soon. That's the right call. Just hang out, strip the enemy jungle, and just take fire.
Well, trying to do that for now. Just one Phoenix down. Not the worst Phoenix to be either. In fact, this is probably the best Phoenix for them to have been down, as it is on the Fire Giant side of the map. Be down for a little bit longer, but that Fire Giant coming up now in about the next 5-6 seconds. That will spawn, and you can see all 5 of Ragnarok. They want to drop this one, but nobody from Team 9 is in any position to contest this.
Yeah, not at all. And they shouldn't. This is not something we should contest. One, they're very, very low, comparatively speaking, to the team across the way. They've got homework on the right side as far as firemen are concerned. The Fire Giant's dead. You can see since 9 sniffed up, Ragnarok will ignore that.
Oh, they're split up here. Mr. Salmon's all alone on this left side, and Team Ragnarok, they know this because they start pushing up the mid lane minions. But she's going to get back to the safety of their red buff, so Mr. Salmon will get a little bit for himself here, but the rest of the team all just backing off, going ahead and spinning up some of that gold that they had. 1,700 in hand for the Circuit, 1,400 in hand for the Apollo. Like, a lot of gold to be spent.
Yeah, I like the classic Circuit build here, the Yones into the Deathbringer. I think that's a very nice look. I think it's going to allow her to be hard carry, which is kind of what she's doing.
Did they know that Athlos is here? He's just sitting here. The blue space and time comes through, and there's the jump from Athlos. Overhead kick going to immune the taunt through. Crush not going to help anything as Henri Sama picks up the first one, and through the portal he falls. Andy Jax will drop, and Henri gets the double kill. Maybe looking at the triple. Mr. Salmon takes a hefty bit of poke, but the dot from the vent anger on Almighty Keck will be enough to drop him down. And speaking of dropping, Dong Devourer through the portal, back to the grave.
There it is, Ragnarok GG, getting a couple of kills here. This isn't the win. They need to take the mid Phoenix and then the right one, because Leonidas and Andy can absolutely defend with the thing without. They might go for it.
They're trying for it. 3-man taunt in. Jumping down now. Mr. CL taking a lot, and he's going to be wiped. But now Leonidas has respawned. Andy Jackson's here as well. Titan's at a quarter HP. Great Athlos. He's going to fall, but the Titan so low. There's not enough damage for them to stop it.
There it
and
is.
The Titan falls. Ragnarok takes game 2.
I did not expect that. I thought that 9 was going to be able to respawn and respawn, but instead, oh man, I did not expect that win. That was cool. This team is sick.
I didn't think that they were going to have enough damage for it. I thought just as well. Mr. CL had a beautiful taunt there at the end, but unfortunately, it was just too late on the respawn from Andy and Leonidas to really capitalize off of that taunt. If that was 4 seconds later, that might have been a completely different fight at that Titan.
Yeah, man, so dominant. 0 deaths on the support, 0 deaths on the side laner as well. Just having a complete front line, just impenetrable. Very, very important. Keck did a great job in game number 1. Keck did a great job in game number 2. Also had a lot of help from the Sylvanas. Really, really nice.
Honestly, everybody on this team played very, very well. And one of the important things to note was that at the very beginning of the game, there was 4 kills on the team, but it wasn't stacked onto a single person. It wasn't like last game where Great Athlos has 3-4 kills by the 5-minute mark. Everybody had gotten a little bit of a spread of the kill. And that's the important thing, is it helped them to push their lanes individually with that. And speaking of pushing lanes and getting kills, MVP is now up to vote. You and the audience can vote to who you think was the MVP of game number 2. And I'm going to be honest here, I can't lock down a single person here.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the impact in the game, Kuroka was the entire team gets the first blood, right? Kuroka does a great job in the early game with the Apollo. Really, really nice control of the lane with Ward, who had a fine early game as well. Honestly, I'm looking at Anrasama. This Giannis was very, very effective, not just with the damage dealing. You can see him sitting at the top of the player damage by a long shot, but also the portals were really important, saving his teammates a couple of times. This Giannis player was absolutely my MVP.
I think of all of the players there, for me, it came down to probably Onrysama and Kurakawa. And Onrysama just the whole time, like you said, the portals, fantastic. Using those ults, especially the one at the solo lane to get Almighty Keck out of danger in the 2v1 situation. Gets them out, makes the rotation for You Need to Ward 2 to throw out that pull, yank Leonidas back to the team and drop him down. Onrysama just playing lights out this game.
Yeah, I loved it. This is a team. This is a squad that I think is really entertaining to watch. Here we've got a lot of inexperienced players, and there you could see their inexperience as well. But they're thinking about things. They're working together in a way that I haven't really seen some of these other teams do, which could be tough for their opponents. But it's really nice for them because this is something that they could, this is a hobby league, right? Nobody's here trying to be a pro, but I mean, this is the type of mentality that you take into the combine and you climb your way up. These guys are fun to watch.
You never know. We might see some of these names later on down the line. Maybe not quite in the Pro League, but who knows? We might see them make their way onto an SML roster if they keep improving and going at the rate that some of these players have been playing through here. Still have time to cast your votes. Say no more. Actually, I've just been given the word that the voting is over, and once again, Almighty Keck receiving the MVP.
Oh, all right. A little bit of a surprise there. Like I said, I was definitely leaning towards the Giannis, but I think Keck did a great job. He was able to farm himself up and stay ahead. The itemization that he went into just let him do that even more. So I love what he's been doing here. He's been making the intelligent plays. So he gets ahead. So he goes into Glad Shield just to tide him over from Mystical Mail, which is a win more item. Rarely purchased, but when it is purchased, it's silly, especially on Kukulkan. Double Vent Anger, like, yeah, okay. Really, that's
never fun. That's never fun to deal with, let's be honest, on to here. But this is the second game of this best of 5 here. Ragnarok up 2-0. Team Nine's really going to have to turn these ones around in this game 3, or they could be sent home packing. Best of 5 still has up to 3 more games to go. We're going to take it to a break. When we come back, do or die for Team 9. Do or die situation here for Team 9 versus Ragnarok. Down 2-0. Ragnarok getting the better hand of it in that last game early on with that invade really spelled trouble for them.
Yeah. I mean, they just couldn't deal with the. Yeah, no. I'm going to disagree. Okay. The invade was so early in the game, and it's interesting. The invade was so early in the game that it got first blood bounty, and that's it. It was almost too early, so it's all positive. So it's not like there's a bad side of it. But if you gank at that point, it's like, all right, you got 500 gold. I still get my buff. Like, no big deal. Nobody cares. Whatever. You get a 500 gold start, which is not anything to really write home about. So the invade was kind of inconsequential to everything. It was just, it was just Ragnarok playing better Smite. These guys are really good.
It's just Ragnarok wanted to kill and they got it. And now if they would have gotten a second kill off of it on the Mr. Salmon at the time, that may have spelled another different story onto it. But now we're seeing a little bit more of a late game oriented team here from Nine, as it seems kind of strange considering that their early and mid has been what's suffering. But now you see 3 gods really focused towards that late stage.
Yeah, and now Nine trying to turn things around. I like the Mercury pick. This pick is really good and can really kind of force the game in their direction. So Mercury, Andy, Jack. The early game Robin didn't really have that impact. Mid to late game, though, hopefully Andy can do a little bit better. Mid lane, trouble for the Raijin. Andy making it happen just As we asked for.
That's what you need to get that level 1 kill, or even just get that early kill onto your Mercury of all gods. That's who you want that first blood bounty to go to. Now Great Athlos going to try something, but he's only level 1 versus these 2 level 2s. Down through the portal, Athlos will go. This red buff looks like it got stolen away. Athlos is just trying to run, but this Mercury and this Yana so speedy, and Mr. Salmon, the unstable vortex, that will drop down a second kill now for Nein.
I like how Andy did that too. Now looking to help out on the left-hand side, tosses the tree up into the right. Mr. Salmon waiting, but he whips the attack. The unstable not going to do the damage, but the body blocks are good. Ward 2 under the tower. Andy can't take much more than that. And Kuroka gets the answer back.
A little bit of a misplay there from Andy going into that tower, taking a shot there. He's going to take the spill, and you need to Ward 2. He will live. The body blocks were really good, but it wasn't quite enough. Now Mr. CL trying to go onto Kurokawa. Dong Devourer is here. He's going to roll for it, and he's going to get it, but the minions will trade out onto it. Another 1-for-1 trade out here. Team 9, though, they're still up 3-2.
That's rough. That was 9. They're still... 9 bit off more than they could chew. Their eyes got bigger than their stomach. They were able to go in and get a nice little bit of a lead. But then what wound up happening was they overstayed. The tower dove way too early. And because they got over aggressive, now the game much more even than it should be.
There's actually an invade over there on the blue buff, the mid laner for Ragnarok, recognizing that everybody from 9 is on the left side of the map. He rotates right to steal that one away from Leonidas, and if there's any god in the game who also needs that mana, Tyr, another one of those very mana-intensive gods in the soul lane early, definitely needs to have that mana so you can continuously stance switch, heal up, and deal damage.
Mr. Salmon on the Giannis, again, another nice adjustment, I think, putting him on the Scylla with Ragnarok being so active in the jungle in the mid lane was a valiant idea considering how game number 1 went, but even the dog doesn't agree. So the move to the mid and the early game Giannis, I think, was a much better move.
I think so, and now Salmon's going to be able to get that red buff again. The Thunder Crash just barely in time for Henri Sama. He'll be able to get back to his tower. And this is really what we wanted to see from Andy. Both of these last games was utilizing that aggression. Now he's got the lead. Now he wants to go for it, but he's going to get pinned down. Knockback, Mr. CL yanked back by Need Ward. But he's going to be stopped by the Thunder Crash using that dash. Going to stun out one. Using that energy surge to try and get a little bit of healing back and stop him. They're unable to kill this bear. She is able to get back in. Mr. CL living out.
What a weird engagement. Ragnarok the whole time looked like they just wanted to put one foot in the hot tub. They were like, are we doing this? As they walk forward and slowly throw basics out. Like, I don't know. That was a lack of commitment there. Ragnarok could have probably taken her out. I guess they were afraid of the rotation, but I don't know.
And Mr. Salmon didn't have his ult yet, so they didn't have to worry about, through space and time being there to be the big bailout. Sure, there was the portal for it, but Mr. Salmon used it for damage in that fight. So they knew that all of that was down. It was just nobody wanted to be the one to hit the gas pedal. They all were just waiting for somebody else to take the driver's seat.
Yeah, it's got to be cleaned up a little bit, but that's Ragnarok, who have essentially, they answered back on the left-hand side. And you know what? So that is interesting because, again, you got to think about the context. We're here with like very, very, average and above average players here. So the cautiousness, I don't mind, because that's why Nein kind of lost their gigantic lead, was because they tried to overstay and tried to force the kills. So Ragnarok being a little bit more trepidatious, I don't mind.
Ooh, Mr. Salmon. For him, he's going to have that portal. Fun part about the Giannis, being able to go through walls. And unfortunately for Henri Sama, he used his dash. Now he's going to have to go up onto the drums, and using that ultimate, he's going to get shot down by both Andy and Salmon. They'll fall down one more time. Pull in from You Need to Ward, but unfortunately there's no follow for him. Mr. Salmon instead is going to throw some damage back to the tree.
Yeah, probably took more damage than he dealt out there, but looking forward from the Arlong Shen. Nice speeds to avoid the taunt. But then there comes Mercury. Almighty Keck shows up, makes the rotation from the right side, and that should be enough to dissuade Nein from going too hard.
Now you need to ward a half HP. Gonna use those whiffs just to heal himself up and give Almighty Keck a little bit of extra protections mid lane. A little bit of that skirmish there. I mean, that was just Henri Sama using his dash and Salmon communicating and recognizing, hey, his dash is down, Andy go right on top of him, and so they did. Fired off the double ult just to send him back home and pack him.
Nice play there from Leonidas. Knew that Keck was coming on the right-hand side, made sure to grab him in the Fearless, but now Keck doing a ton of damage to the tier. There's the ult, there's the kick. And Almighty Keck gets another kill, continuing his dominance from games 1 and game 2.
He's looking for that 3 in a row. He's looking for the 3 in a row MVP. Let's be real here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. He just wants to push it. He's doing a great job in the solo lane.
But is he going to push it to the limit? And is he in it to win it?
He just might push it to the limit.
Double knockout from you need to ward here onto the left-hand side. Mr. CL gonna be knocked out by the turtle form. He's gonna be thrown back by the jungler and Andy. He's gonna help pick that one on Mr. CL, getting the credit for the last hit. But now he has to be careful running away from Kurakawa as he's at the last bit of HP. 4 people on this left-hand side. The ult from Andy. It's gonna whip. He's not gonna fight it, but Salmon will. The shotgun to the face. But Henri finds one inside the jungle. Kurakawa is trying to find some more as Dawn Devour. He's got no mana and no life. Kurakawa trades it out, but here comes Leonidas.
And he's going to come over the top. Kurakawa, fearless and dead. Leonidas all the way from the short side picks up 1. It's going to be a 1 for 2, but a number of players are injured. And Nein making some plays, but really Ragnarok coming up really nice with the counter initiations.
Salmon farming up that one more wave syndrome. Could have potentially cost him his life, but for now he will be able to go back to the base, spend up some of that gold. He's got quite a bit in hand, 1,600 gold, so he's going to be able to likely finish off that Chronos pendant if he was going to go for it. Instead, he's actually just going to be able to get the tier 2 of it in that instance. My apologies on to that, but 2,000 gold in pocket for the Kakolin here. Almighty Keck just waiting to go back to base, and he can pick up just about any item that he wants to.
Leonidas, the rotation cost him dearly. Now he's only level 7. Keck is level 10, and just slamming him with the abilities.
That was just the Salmon leap. That was just the Salmon leap and maybe an in-hand or 2. And that's what it can do to Leonidas being 3 levels down.
Yeah, I mean, very, very far behind. I liked the rotation, but this is the consequence.
Well, now to the mid lane they go. Andy Jack's using that Sonic Boom, and Great Athlos taking quite a bit of poke. Using that turtle form just to get back to safety of his tower, and he will heal up thanks to that 9-turn blessing. Kurakawa's here, not going to use that Tusky. The energy surge is going to be good. Tusky goes and starts barreling through the enemies. Mr. CL, though, just enough HP to live through it.
Yeah, that was an interesting play from Artemis. Ultimate from the Giannis off the mark. Look at the red buff invade. Keck able to take down Mr. CLO. And the shots on Mr. Salmon are good. He slowed down, JMac. They could find him.
Keck just did a drive bomb. He just jumped in. That was the death of him. He said, all right, guys, who are we taking out next here?
Just over the top and taking care of business. Ragnarok a little hesitation friendly. I like this play though on the Hunter. Rolling away his Dawn Devour. Double fearless from the tier player.
It's not going to be enough though. Kurakawa will find out and trade out his life for his junglers. 4 people from Ragnarok now on to the Gold Fury. Not sure if this is quite the play this early on. Andy, Leonidas, they're both still here. Mr. CL as well. Gold Fury has been leased. Wise play through of Mr. CL. He's moving forward, and he's going to grab the tree. He's going to throw it back, rooted in place, shoved against the wall, and punched back down. Andy going to get the kill.
Beautiful ultimate coming out from Henri Sama. The problem is, it looked pretty, but the impact was low. Not able to damage the players enough to chase them home. And now one of the better abilities to contest this Gold Fury is on cooldown.
This is very risky. Everybody's getting a little bit low here. Almighty Keck can easily pick up maybe one with it. They're going to back off, shoved against the wall. Mr. CL is going to help stun him out. Mr. CL is playing very risky here. The Vent Anger not going to be able to drop him down. Athlos will get it with the pin over the wall. Trade out 1-for-1 support for Solo. Getting that shutdown onto Almighty Keck important, but again, this Gold Fury dance is just not really fruitful for anyone.
Yeah, no, that was Keck really feeling himself. He's got a reason to feel himself this afternoon, to be honest with you, but just getting in there a little bit too hard, a little bit too heavy. Didn't have the itemization just yet. He's only 10 minutes in when he died. So Keck kind of made a mistake there, needed to wait for his team. As long as he kind of like pauses right now and goes, all right, I'll wait for you guys, then I'm not concerned.
Yeah, for now, he's got 3 levels up. He doesn't have too much to worry about in the ultimate use. To help out his teammate, Mr. Salmon, just going to throw it, but no real worry there. Dong Devourer, he is going to get to safety. He'll be able to go back to base.
Ragnarok still trailing. The lead has been stretched to about 1,000, but now we're at 11 minutes in the game. This sub-1,000 gold lead is pretty irrelevant. So about a tie game now where Nine started off so hot.
I mean, at 11.5 minutes, 1,000 gold is nothing. That's, that's 1 tier of an item and some wards for everybody for now. Taking a look at the rest of it, experience even as well. And Henri-sama, that's going to be his beads. That's a big win there for Nine.
Yeah, but at the same time, Raijin still relatively safe against most of this team, especially if he has his jungler with them. Red buff invade a little bit early, but Nine looking to wait for it. Here comes Kurokawa. And the red buff gonna go down. And so Mr. Salmon, nice shots from the Artemis.
The roots and the cripples just too much for this Giannis to handle. The crit's just too big. And now Mr. CL, it looks like he may take a spill here as well. The drums of war have been beaten, but Great Apollos is the one who finds the last hit for it.
Ragnarok again, just grouping up and making the plays when they need to. Gold Fury, the window open right now for the red team, and 10-10, they tied it there. 31-31, they tied it there. And the Gold Fury is going to push the scale even more in their favor.
So far, they keep going down this back and forth leashing dance, and now Leonidas is here. He's going to ult in over. He's going to shove everybody off the Gold Fury. Kurokawa's taking a lot of damage. The Gold Fury has been leashed. Nobody is back on it. Kurokawa is out for now. Dong Devourer taking a lot of poke, and Henri's going to get him with the Thunder Crash.
Triple knockup coming out from the support player. But here comes Leonidas. 3 players, 2 get power cleaved. Almighty Keck still good, but he does have 2 on him.
Henri-sama's got to be careful. The dash in from Andy Jax. He's going to be throwing in them in hand. The drums are not enough, but he will trade out his life thanks to the dot from the Raiju. But now Leonidas here one more time. These fearlesses in just this fight alone are showing why Tyr is such a powerful god in the right hands.
Yeah, I mean, Tyr is definitely making the impact. The triple fearless in that team fight by the Gold Fury pit was a pivotal moment. And that definitely swung that fight in Nine's favor. Ragnarok kind of had it at the beginning, but that grab, very important. Very good fearless.
Not only getting that fearless at the bottom end to push 3, but also pushing them off the Gold Fury to leash it was beautiful by him. Leonidas with 2 big fearlesses in that last fight, really showing his stuff. Really helping out the team, and now Almighty Keck is here. He's going to blink in. He's going to get the ult on the Salmon, and that's going to be the drop, just stabbing him one time with the Barb Spear. Almighty Keck getting his 3rd kill of the game.
3-1-4 for the solo lane. MVP in games 1 and 2. Nine's Tyr is certainly making a case for himself if he can help his team even more so. This is Nine stretching their lead or trying to get it back. Ragnarok and tied it, but I want to see Ragnarok kind of be aggressive. This is the type of play that I'm asking for. Just pick something and do it, and they're going to get the pyro.
They get it for free. No response at all for the enemy team, as the whole time Athlos was keeping Andy Jax under the tower, but now Athlos, he's going to go ahead and drop that tower down. Leonidas using the Lawbringer over the wall. He's going to get the fearless on the Great Athlos. Andy Jax going to get hit by the Thunder Crash. The drums of war are beating, but the portals from Mr. Salmon able to get his team out of danger and turning the fight around. Mr. CL gets 1. Almighty Keck drops Leonidas. The knockup from You Need to Ward is good on the 2. Salmon taking a lot of poke. He's going to drop through his own portal. I think he was trying to go for the wall there.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't his game plan. But look at what happens when Leonidas is down. The amount of control just isn't there. Artio has a one-shot, the AoE stun. It's really nice. But the cripple is less of a hard CC in the sense that it kind of makes players do what you want to do. It just prevents them from running away. When you're trying to like be aggressive, it's very different as to the tier, which just hits you with the fearless. Keck falls down to the Merc. That's we're getting there with Mercury.
And Andy just walks in and kicks and punches the man to death, and that's the power of this Hasten Katana first item pickup. Is he's just gonna be able to chase down anybody that he wants. As long as he gets that in hand, he's gonna be able to just keep moving forward.
I like this. I like this this choice for a couple of reasons. I think that there are two mentalities to Mercury that are both viable and applicable at a competitive level of play right now. Either you build Mercury and you go stone cutting sword into crit, and your job, you're looking to just hit somebody for like 2,000 damage on your first swing, and you're just looking to basically be fast Loki. And I like that against particularly squishy teams and teams that don't really immobile teams that are easy to punish with Mercury. But then this Katana build I also really like when you are facing against tankier characters, because you're not going to get that one shot. So going the Katana gives you more movement speed and also allows you to stick to targets a little bit better. When you've got the Arlong Shen in the jungle, I think this is a nice look for Andy Jax.
Andy looking for somebody here. Onryu-sama is in a jungle, but there's a ward that Andy's right on top of. They know he's here. Apo's going to charge in with the turtle, going to cancel it out. Mr. CL, a two-man stun of his own, rooted in place by the pin. Great Athos falls down through the portal. Big knock up there from You Need the Ward. He's going to help turn this around and get one over for Onryu-sama.
Just a wonderful response to the knockup out of the support. Meanwhile, Keck on the left-hand side gets one. There's the control from the Raiden ultimate. Wonderful decision-making. Onryu-sama gets a kill for his troubles. And Mercury going to be able to speed out of there because of the Katana. With the damage done, 3 players on the bench now. JMac, Fire Giant could be the call. We see the pings. And Ragnarok looking for the big guy.
He did very well, a possible call for this, but Leonidas is in the air. He's standing on multiple wards. They know he's here. The pull off the mark. Leonidas going to use that fearless just to get out. Athos doesn't have any mana here. Might want to be a little careful trying to fight up into this. Fire Giant has been started. Andy Jax is here. 5 members pushing forward. Keck trying to zone, but he can't zone everybody. The Lawbringer into the pit, and now Leonidas taking too much damage. He aggroed that Fire Giant, and the Vent Anger is going to be enough to help finish him off. Almighty Keck will drop him down.
I like what Ragnarok are doing here. So they don't have their ultimates yet from the last fight, but by forcing the Fire Giant this early, even though they arguably can't really kill it effectively, they forced Nein to respond one by one, which allowed them to get
coming in. CL's coming in. Andy Jax with a Sonic Boom. Mr. CL's going to pick up one. Andy's going to help pick up a second one. The Fire Giant
Andy's going to get it
back yet. Nine's going to steal it away from the Null in the end. Mr. Salmon gets one. Keck's going to drop down Andy, but it's a 3-for-1 trade. Might turn this into be 4 as Almighty Keck is stuck in the middle. Down the portal he goes and taps to the ground. Dong Devour finally gets his 3rd kill of the game, and now it's turned all back around here for Nein.
Oh man, what a play. Mr. Salmon could be in trouble. Gets through the portal, and Athos won't be able to find the stun onto the mid lane mage. But what's going on here is Ragnarok just needed to realize that their 1 pick is good, 2 picks is good, but they had to deviate from their plan. That was a little unfortunate. Now they have to worry about Merc just being insane.
Those blinks in, but that might have just been his death as he used his mobility, and the fearless from Leonidas, that's gonna grab him down. 5, 3, and 4 on the solo lane tier 1 tower on the solo lane has been dropped. Try saying tier so many times in a single sentence and you might go crazy. Andy Jax though, 5, 3, and 10 on this Mercury. We talked about how this is going to have to be their answer to Ragnarok, is if they can get to this late game, if they can get Andy's Mercury to that stage, this could be the single carry that they need for it. Now, Gold Fury was started up, and Kurokawa tried for the Sonic Boom. Not quite in range to grab him, but welcome to the power of crit on the Mercury. Got that fully evolved Rage. That's giving him 40% critical strike, and then with that, made you look. He's going to drop him down and help his team get the Gold Fury.
Still funny to watch that one. Just hits the ult right into the wall. Oh well, Andy still gets the kill. I think that's why we can laugh at it, because he wound up with the kill anyway. Mid lane tower going to be pushed up here by Nein. Typical play, although usually from the defenders. But with the Fire Giant, Nein able to just deal the damage to the structure and have the regen to keep on pushing. 3 players playing D in the middle lane, and the jungle will join them. So it's a 4-1 split. And the split pusher,
I like this.
Giannis.
I love this. Of all gods to split push, let it be the Giannis, the one who can get right back to his team in an instant if need be. Great heads up play by them. Now the rest of the team is joining together. Andy Jack's pushing forward up the mid lane to meet up with the rest of his team.
Mr. CLO leading the charge and going underneath the tower. There's the ultimate from Giannis, cutting through everybody, but a gigantic one from Keck on the back end.
Keck's going to be able to help drop down one, and that's going to be a turnaround here for Ragnarok. Leonidas all the while in the back. Up into the sky goes Dong. He's looking for one, but he doesn't have the shots. Kurakawa will live for the time. Down the portal, great Athlos goes. Mr. Salmon, now the one taking up the tower. But I want to be a little careful onto that one as they'll push through it. And Andy Jacks, just stop. Just stop it.
This is what Mercury does. This is what Mercury does. Just very, very scary.
He's got Deathbringer online too. This is just terrifying now.
Yeah, I mean, now he's really starting to just delete players and really become a nuisance. And the structure and objective damage are going to be big.
Gotta take a look here at the dance charts to see. It looks like everybody's spread fairly evenly amongst them. Andy Jack's not the top of his team. That actually will go over to Mr. Salmon. And respectfully, he's been doing quite a bit with those through space and times. Those unstable vortex really starting to chunk through. And again, he's kind of gone for this Warlock staff as a third item here.
Much different game. Much different game. Still not my favorite, but I certainly don't mind it, JMac. The first time we saw it, as we see the pause from Anwar Sama, when we first saw the Warlock staff after the 2 preceding items, it was in a game whose back had broken before that item was even purchased. Laning phase was over before we saw the Warlock staff. And so that was just kind of not the right do, just the wrong choice objectively. Whereas now the laning phase is still kind of extended, despite the fact that we've seen tier 1s and tier 2s go down. Mr. Salmon's on the offensive this time around, so it's a much nicer choice. 58 stacks, it's just now becoming relevant, and it's a little bit late as we're 20 minutes in, but I think that's also Mr. Salmon probably could have found stacks elsewhere.
I think so. Maybe with a Book of Thoth, if he wanted a little bit of extra power, would have really helped him out in this instance. Give him that extra little bit of mana and the MP5 to help him sustain through and just consistently keep throwing out those unstable vortexes. But it looks like we do have a bit of an extended pause here. We're going to go ahead and take it to a quick break. We're going to come back to you as quick as we can once this pause has gone ahead and run its course. And we're back, everybody. Game 3, Nein and Ragnarok here in this best of 5. And Nein been looking a lot better than they have in these last 2 games. Finally amounted a pretty hefty gold lead for themselves. 10,000 in the lead, F.
Yeah, Nein has been a much more active team here, and it's all been, not all of it, but a lot of it has had to do with Andy Jax and Leonidas. Game number 1, Mr. Salmon, or game number 1 and 2, Mr. Salmon, like, kind of had input, but there wasn't really much going on. Now with Leonidas and Andy Jax both working, things are good. Teams battling over the Fire Giant.
All 10 members on the map on this side trying to get not only vision control, but just control as this Fire Giant is set to respawn here. And now, the big fight. Everybody's just waiting for somebody to make that first move.
Dong Devourer, I think, is a little bit too far up. I want him to stay behind. There you go. I want him to stay behind his tanks. That's good. But Andy Jack's looking for the flank here. And Ragnarok are distracted. Uh-oh. Mr. Salmon's going to portal into Mercury. This is going to be bad news for Ragnarok.
The ult coming through right on top of them. And Kurakawa's the one who takes the burst from it. He's going to be the first one to fall through. You need to ward too. Well, you need to die to my son, Leonidas. We'll pick up the kill onto that. Next going to fall. Andy Jax, the 3rd kill for the team. And now the Fire Giant's doors have been swung wide open.
Yeah, I mean, paid in full. Nein just had a plan, saw it, executed it, and did it right. That was really impressive there, JMac. Sure, they've got numbers, like they're up a gazillion gold, but it's all in how you use it. If they go right into Ragnarok, if not just presses W and pushes forward, with the mid lane on the Raijin, you're at least gonna drop 1. So Andy and Salmon Man looking for the flank on the left-hand side. Well, remember how I mentioned Dong Devour was up too far? That was a ruse. It was a clever trick. And Ragnarok fell for it. They got excited. They wanted to devour the Dong, but instead they got devoured.
All right, we're not going to talk about devouring dongs here, F. This is a PG stream here. We're not.
Hey man, I'm just reading player names.
Okay. Well, what really confused me onto that one is, yes, they used Dong Devour as a bait to move forward, but there was a ward on that side by the Pyromancer. They knew that those players were still standing there, and they just let themselves be distracted by the Dong. And now, ult in from need to ward 2. He's going to knock up Mr. CL. He's going to take a lot of damage. The portal is going to go through as well. The crits just coming through. Big between not only Dong, but Mr. Salmon. Not Mr. Salmon. He's going to jump through the portal. Andy Jack's charging up that ult, waiting for an opportunity to go through, but everybody's getting real healthy. Big pull in. Big pull, but Leonidas, he's going to get out for now. And Andy Jack's into the back. That could spell danger. Yeah,
he correctly turns around. I like that choice. Doesn't chase the kill. Mr. Salmon now and Mr. CLO trying to play frontline for the squad. Mr. Salmon does have access to the portals, but I don't like his positioning here. I think he could be taken advantage of by a move like that, but Ragnarok not going all in.
No, wisely, they're just going to wait and see if Nein makes a mistake. And this is the kind of discipline we didn't see a whole lot of in the semifinals. Is we're not just going to gun it forward. We're not going to see red and just chase. They recognize that they are still down. This is a Fire Giant team. Let them go ahead and just back themselves off. We successfully held them off our Phoenix. Let's leave it at that for now.
Yeah, it's nice to see another side of a team, because when you're just winning all the time, it's it's tough to play from behind, and it's a completely different mindset. It's a different style. It's a different way of execution. And so, yeah, Ragnarok were able to win with the lead. I think it's kind of easy to win your 15,000 gold up. How do you do when you're down that 14,000 gold, you know?
I mean, it was just meticulous poking, meticulous damage going through. It wasn't, they tried to all in us and it just failed. It was waiting for Nein to make a mistake. Andy Jack's ulting into the middle of 5 people with his ult. Let's try and get him here. That didn't work. Mr. Salmon going through his own portal into the enemy team. That didn't work. Almost got him down. It was waiting for Nein to make the mistakes, not waiting for Ragnarok to go forward. They were waiting for their enemy to make the mistake there. Because they're 15,000 up, they're going to be a little bit cockier about it.
Yeah, and they should be. It's an important part of a MOBA or any game where you have a actual physical, your lead gives you a boost somehow, you have to utilize that boost. Otherwise, who cares if you're in the lead? I mean, there's no relevance to it if you're not going to use it. It's like golden hand. You got to be able to back when it's important. And it's kind of the same mentality. If you never back, you never get the items. But if you have the items and you never fight, you never use the items. So it's very important that Nine are able to get involved.
20 seconds left on this Fire Giant buff. They want to get some kind of extra bit here, whether it be a Phoenix or a couple of kills. And Kurakawa, he's going to get sniped down. And through space and time, Salmon's going to find him into the back. That's the first one, and the Phoenix gone. Henri up onto the drums, but it's just to deter the rest of the team. And very wisely from Nine, they're going to take their lead. They're going to take their kill, and they're just going to back off for now.
Yeah, just shifting over to the mid lane Phoenix. I like the call. Mid laner, Mr. CLO is going to block his way out. Ajax on the backside, now lining up the ultimate. There it is. The subsequent CC chain grabs the entire team. And Andy Jack pulled up, but Keck is able to play defense. A great initiation, JMac, but the damage wasn't there.
There was just no follow-up from it. Mr. CL had a beautiful 4-man stun, followed up by Andy Jax's Sonic Boom that hit everybody, but beyond that, they were just too tanky. There was too much health on the side of Ragnarok, and the burst just wasn't quite all there. They end up losing Mr. CL for it, but they did get the left side Phoenix, which is the most important one to set up for this next Fire Giant.
You know, Ragnarok, great defensive set, and it's only going to get harder from here. This gold lead that we keep touting, 18,000 and rising, but it's the limit for Nine. Ragnarok are now catching up. Their players are on their 5th item here, so there is still time. There is still stuff to catch up to. Ragnarok absolutely haven't tied the game yet, but the longer Nine take to break the base, the harder it's going to get. And Ragnarok have a great composition to keep players outside of their territory.
This is a very strong anti-siege comp. You need to ward on the Sylvanas, has the massive AoE knockup as soon as anybody tries to get in. Henri Sama has the drums of war, able to push them away with the fear, drag them in with the taunt, or just use it for a lot of damage. And Kurakawa, we can't discount how much damage Tusky is able to help provide for the team, especially now that we're getting late and there's a little bit of extra crit built online for Kurakawa. This is just a great defensive team.
What's really so here's the magical Christmas land scenario. Kurakawa, actually, sorry, we're doing things live. I gotta take this actually real quick.
Okay, well, F-Dot takes a phone call and decides to abandon the fight here. Nine pushing forward. They've got the Fire Giant back on them for 3 more minutes. The left side Phoenix is down. The mid one has taken quite a bit of poke. And Mr. CL is the one on the forefront for the team as everybody's trying to gather up. But Leonidas is so far away. He's going to need to use that TP to get himself back to the rest of the team, and he will over onto that left side of it. Crits coming through from Dong Devourer. He's full build and swinging hard. Only person on this team not full build is Leonidas, but he's only a tier away from it, and a tier in general. Phoenix minions are in. Light Energy Surge has gone through, and it will break the bubble of Athlos. It's very important that Energy Surge did take that bubble off of him. Now he's not going to have that CC immunity safety net to keep himself alive. Henri Sama. Important positioning by this Raijin, staying just out of sight, but within range for his damage. He can throw those drum beats over the wall. Just a little off the mark from hitting those ones, but now he's revealed his position. He's going to have to be careful. Pin onto Dong. He's going to back off here. Amy Jack's charging up that ult, but not going in just yet. And now with Almighty Keck's Rage Form expended, this is a perfect time for them just to wait this one out.
It is.
That they can ignore the cooldowns for it.
Yeah, Ragnarok here. The positioning is good. They've got a great counter initiation, and they're going to use it. Mr. CLO comes here, but Sonic off the top.
Dong Devourer is going to fall, or help to drop Henri Sama. You need to ward. You need to die. He's gone. Almighty Keck and Great Athlos, the last one's alive, but they are getting shredded down just as quickly as the Phoenix was. Dong Devourer and Leonidas will team up, drop them down, and it's only Almighty Keck left to defend against this Titan. 3/4 HP. Almighty Keck trying to push forward, but he doesn't have an ult. He doesn't have a Rage Form. He doesn't have anything to stop this one. And Team 9 takes game 3.
Man, that was great turnaround from Nine, not just in the game but in the set. You're down 2, you're on your elimination game here on the final, and it hasn't been close. And then to be able to have the mental fortitude to be able to bounce back, and also the talent backing it up, showing us why Nine belongs here in the finals. Really, really, really fun stuff.
And not only that, the mentality to switch from this composition that they've been building consistently here, which is just, we're trying to get our way into mid game, maybe try and help us out. This time they said, you know what? We're going to try and get through the early mid to get to a hyper late game with this Mercury, with the ROM, and then the Giannis to try and help us hit that transitional point. In these last few games, they didn't really have any of those transitional gods to get them through that mid to the late game. This time with the ROM, with the tier, Leonidas coming out big, and the RTO really helping push them to get that Mercury where he wants to be.
I think Mercury just might be one of the best characters in the entire game right now, JMac.
I think so, and see what the audience thinks here as we go ahead and throw up the vote for who you think the MVP is for this set up here. Again, this is a little bit of a tough one to look at here. I mean, Andy Jack's putting out the damage throughout the early and mid stages. Salmon coming up real big in these last 2 fights, getting those picks onto Kurokawa are huge, but I mean, I'm looking at just about anybody on this team, especially Leonidas with his plays at that Gold Fury earlier on, multiple 3-man fearlesses throughout the game.
Yeah, I mean, the control coming out from Leonidas was really big. I think you kind of have to give it to Mercury here. He was the main scorer. I mean, tied up for 8 and 8, right? But this was the guy that was just putting it in the basket. I mean, Mercury was just clearly the hard carry here. Mr. Salmon and Leonidas did a great job. Leonidas did a good job of kind of corralling the enemy team, and Giannis enabled Mercury with a ton of assists. But I mean, you give it to the executioner.
I think so. And I mean, Andy did the job of what most hunters are, which is hold W and left click, but he's a Mercury with a hasten katana, a speed buff at any point if he did have that, and just crit. I mean, if we look at his build here to finish out, is the hasten katana, boots, double crit, and then Aussie and Titan's Bane. There was nobody who was going to survive the onslaught of him. Not even the tanks were going to have a chance against this.
So I actually did. I really like the composition defensively for Ragnarok GG. They have this really interesting Magical Christmas Land CC chain where Artemis pops the boar and everybody gets stunned. That sends Raijin into the ultimate where he taunts everybody, right? And then as he's taunting them, Arlong Shen locks him into place. And then you have 2 knockups in Sylvanas and Kakulin, which aren't affected by DR. And so you have this entirely large CC chain where the whole time Artemis is just piling shots in. And we saw half of that CC chain work the first Phoenix defense that Nine kind of lost a lot of players for. But the problem was they kept spreading out and they weren't able to really line that up. And I admit, it's a crazy scenario, but even having bits and pieces of the combo would have allowed them to be a little bit more successful. Spreading out was just not the thing to do against this Mercury, and they weren't able to really just find that CC combo, because once Mercury died, which happened a couple of times, the team fight was largely over. Unable to find that, they lose the game.
Well, we yelled out his name a couple of times in those last 2 Phoenix pushes, and it's going to be Mr. Salmon getting the MVP in this 3rd game.
Wow, I respect that. I think the chat's full of really smart people, because I said Mercury was the guy that was delivering the daggers, but Giannis was the setup man. He was able to shove the ultimate through the team fights. He was able to provide the portals, allowing Mercury to be that deep. Andy Jack succeeded, but it was Mr. Salmon right behind him that was enabling him. All right, 10 points to you guys, chat.
I mean, just off the top of my head, I can think of 3 instances where Mr. Salmon was the startup man for Ajax. It was the first time at that Fire Giant where they came in from the side.
That was such a good
Andy
fight.
came through, smacked Kurokawa. He's down. And all 3 of these, by the way, onto Kurokawa. Wasn't a single time that in these 3 scenarios where it wasn't the Artemis. They knew who they wanted to go on to. It's the Fire Giant, ultimate through, Andy kills him. Next up, you have the left side Phoenix fight. Kurokawa is standing off to the side. Mr. Salmon comes through, hits him with the ultimate into the back as he's running away from the fight.
Oh, yeah.
Salmon gets the execute onto him with that one. And then the last one was at that mid lane where Mr. Salmon comes from the side, slams Kurokawa into the side of the head, and Andy comes through with Dong to help deliver the final blow. 3 times in this game, Mr. Salmon setting up the damage and the kills with that ultimate.
Yeah, just really, really, really wonderful Giannis play. And again, Mr. Salmon showed us signs that he knew what was up in the first couple of matches, but was not able to really convert. Game number 2, just a, not a, I was going to say curious pick, but that's wrong. I like the Scylla, just wasn't able to get off the ground because Ragnarok played around it well. Here, this is what happens when Mr. Salmon's able to sort of be in his element, I feel. And I want to see more of this in game 4.
I do too. And well, we're going to see if he can bring it in game number 4. Let's see if Nein can bring this one back and take us to a game 5. Whereas Ragnarok maybe going to pick themselves up from that defeat and move themselves forward. We'll find out here as we get set up for game number 4. It's going to be a nail biter, so grab something to eat, go to the bathroom, whatever you got to do. You don't want to miss the upcoming action. Game number 4 of the grand finals here in the Smite Little League North American region. Ragnarok is up 2-1 after a very impressive game 3 from Nein. JMacTucker here with F. Dot as we get ready to go into this 4th game.
Ragnarok here looked fantastic in games 1 and 2. Almost looked like it was no contest. I was getting ready to peace out. But then Nein came out, and it was a little bit tighter in the beginning, but the ability to come back and really impress has been very exciting. They took game number 3 largely off of the back of their jungle Mercury. So it's important that Athelos has the smirk in his hands right now.
Taking that one away, and now Andy Jack's on the Susana this time. And Mr. Salmon going back onto the Scylla this time around. Unfortunately, we didn't get really see the picks and the bans this time through, so not sure if the Giannis was just banned away from him or what it may be, but I can only assume that's the reason he's not back on this god.
Yeah, I mean, the Giannis was really, really strong there, and Giannis is a popular band anyway. And after seeing his ability there was certainly not a bad choice to go ahead and ban it. But the Scylla, again, late game. It didn't work out in game number 2, and I respect Nein going back to it. But here's the deal. Confidence is one thing. Arrogance is another. If he picks this because he's like, hey, man, game number 2 is a special circumstance. We can do it better. I respect that. But this is an elimination game. So it's really all about how strong the Scylla can be, and more importantly, how it's been in the past.
So Mr. CL just got a massive win over into the duo lane, getting the beads and the sprint off of the team of Ragnarok, just off of 1 energy surge, using that Druid Stance 3, getting the root on a Kurokawa, force the beads, and then you need to wards that. Well, this might be dangerous, and pop that Heavenly Wings tier 2 to get them both out of there as well. So now with both of those down, this could be dangerous.
Yeah, Nein here are going to get blinked on by the Merc, and Athelos did this game number 1. This time not going to convert into the kill, though. Oh, man, Athelos, game number 1, did the same thing. Went from speed to red to lane. Does it on the Mercury here. Doesn't get gifted with the kill. They will get the counter invade, which is nice because it evens things up.
The big difference between the Achilles and the Mercury doing this is the Achilles has a second form of mobility to chase down, where Mercury, that's how he gets in to move his target. So he blinked, dashed directly on top of them to throw them back. but then didn't have another way to chase them down after. Where with an Achilles, you blink in, you stun them, and you have the double dash afterwards. So a little bit differently played out.
Yeah, Mercury right there. The only other thing that he could have done was look for the body block as well, which would have secured at least 1 or 2 more in-hands coming out from the Merc. That might have led to the kill, but, you know, these are the small things that you just learn after watching the tape.
Andy gonna be getting that one out of the mid-camps there. First blood going over to Nein. Again, Atlas being a little over-aggressive, and Salmon able to help capitalize alongside Andy Jax. First blood for Team 9.
500 gold in the way of 9, and this one's starting off the way they want to, not only with the first blood, but the disallowed first blood on the left side. So 9 kind of picking things up. They got to be careful of the Mercury across the way, but they do have the answer in the Scylla.
Dual lane, Kurokawa taking a lot of poke. Beads are still down for another 24 seconds, but he's going to be able to get back to his tower, and Dong Devourer not sure is going quite his way there. Looked like there may have been a little bit of a DC as he walks into the tower, and Kurokawa is going to be able to claim that kill there. And, you know, if this was, you know, anything but a competitive match, you know, you might try and let him through, but unfortunately for him, it was a little too late. He was walking right in.
Play to win.
Play to win. I mean, it's just like ranked. You play to win. You got a DC. Yeah, it's too bad, man. You got this. There will be the pause coming through here by Andy Jax, trying to get Dong Devourer back into the game.
A little bit rough for the ROM to DC. The Scylla into the Mercury is interesting because Scylla will be able to answer Mercury's late game threat as far as pure damage output, but Mercury's also just going to be able to destroy Scylla by himself as well. So it's important, I think, for 9 to be protecting the hell out of Mr. Salmon. That's why I like Andy Jax, Leonidas, and Mike and Mr. CLO. A lot of control for these characters.
Dong Devourer is back into the game now. Unfortunately for him, taking that early spill into the mid lane. Henri's trying to get something onto Mr. Salmon, but he's not going to find anything with that golden apple. Might be turned on himself, but Great Apple is blinking into the mid lane. But Andy does have that jet stream, does have that third dash. He'll be able to get out, but can't say the same for Mr. CL as Kurokawa turns it, picks up his second kill.
Easy, in lane. You know, this is still taking advantage of the DC, which I'm actually going to check myself there, JMac. This is a community tournament. I mean, you're not going to say no to the kill because he walks into your tower, but the punish after the fact, maybe Ragnarok could have played it a little bit more generously. I won't get on them for it. I'm not here to, I don't think I'm going to get mad at them for that. I respect if they're really trying to grind this one out, but I don't know.
Just let him be there for a little bit. At least wait until the ROM's back in the lane before you try and go ham on him.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not offended. I'm not out here berating the guys for it, but I wanted to sort of back myself up off of that one. You don't have to go super hard here. It's just fun watching these guys get a chance to really see the game of Smite as it, I don't know if as it meant to be played.
I think the favor was returned there as Honor-sama.
Eye for an eye, there you go.
Eye for an eye on that one. And Honor-sama, he'll walk in the tower, he'll DC, maybe DC, not sure on that, but they're going to trade it out here, and now here's another pause coming through. It's like, another one. You know what? It was an eye for an eye. It's like, you know what? That was just bad karma, and now Honor-sama, he's going to take a little bit of time to come back.
Pretty much. Oh, well. Yeah, like I said, I mean, if he's walking over the tower, throw the basics so you can get the kill bounty, sure. Like, you know, of course. But, I don't know. It's fun. I think it's just a cool opportunity for a lot of the players that competitive Smite is a different game than ranked, which is a different game than casual Smite, right? And a lot of players have had the opportunity to play ranked and, you know, duo queue here and there, but playing with 5 players in comms, playing to win, different experience. And it's cool to allow these the lower end players to be able to find this spot to go ahead and have some organized play, because it's a different world. So I'm just happy that everybody's coming out and playing.
Yeah, it really is a completely different world when you go from, you know, you're casual, you know, okay, I like you up with, you know, 2 or 3 of my friends. We decided to play, you know, casual conquest, no big deal. to going into ranked where you are still playing to win, but you're also kind of playing to be the carry. You're kind of that ranked mentality of I'm the carry for the team no matter what, even if I'm the support kind of thing. And then you get competitive where it's you formed your team or your team got formed for you. Now you all are in comms. You all have that communication with each other, and you're playing out here to win. Whether you're here to win, a $10,000 prize pool, or you're here just to win a few gems or whatnot. You're here to play to win, and that's what these guys are here to do. Trading out those DC kills amongst the hunter and the mid laner here.
Yeah, as we're pretty much tied up here, nice and even early in the game, which is a nice turnaround from where we've generally seen early game leads have kind of been the tail of the tape as far as our series in the finals has been. So I like that we're nice and even here. It is going to get a little bit scary from here, though. I'm looking at Ragnarok to be making the first moves as Mercury and Medusa really start hitting their mid-game stride. And with Medusa's recent change to Viper Shot, getting that extra shot at a certain point in their build, they're going to be able to really tear apart the Gold Fury. So Scylla threatens that really hard. What I want to see happen is I want to see Ragnarok go for a gold in earnest. But if Nein respond in any way, shape, or form, immediately try and find Mr. Salmon, kill him, and then take the 5-on-4 in whatever direction it may go. I think that's the best way for Ragnarok to really leverage and try to find a leg up. Whereas Nein, they're really just looking at Andy Jax to just kind of be the guy. They're saying, all right, Andy, you got to just be a good jungler and do it for us real quick. And he's got to say, all right.
I think on top of the Viper shots from Medusa, which has been one of the big rises that we've seen of her, is getting that extra bit of damage. You can't knock the petrifying gaze that comes from her. The ability to make the entire enemy team stop attacking you for just a split second so that way they don't get turned to stone and stunned right in front of you. It's a very powerful ability that sometimes gets a little overlooked.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Medusa ult, one of the better team fight ults around. Especially if you're ever able to get the old set up an ambush here, the triple VA, right? If you just come from around a corner and go, wow, and just surprise a whole team, that's a wipe. That's usually just a wipe.
Oh, man. You can get even just one of the carries with that petrifying gaze. That can turn the team fight on its tail immediately. But you can get if you can get 2-3 people of it by doing the little corner trick with it, I mean, that is going to be massive play for it, and that's where we're going to really have to see what Kurokawa can do, because outside of that petrifying gaze, Medusa is just another hunter, really. She does have that anti-heal with her lacerate. She's got decent poke with the acid spray, and then the Viper shot. You know, we've seen steroids coming through, but mid lane, a lot of action coming through here. Nobody can take any damage from it too much.
Yeah, just able to wiggle on out of there. Need to ward 2 was on a different page. And Rasama not really looking for anything just yet, which, I mean, you were DC'd. You gave him a death, but you're still kind of even. So, I don't know. Lack of communication there. Wards saw an opportunity, toss out the ult. Mid laner didn't go for it. Worse things have happened.
Farming up here at Kurokawa now at level 7, where Dong Devourer only level 6 after dropping that buff down. A little bit behind in the lane, but it's nothing too bad. This early on is only 500 experience, 175 gold. I mean, that's really nothing at this point in the game, being 6.5 minutes in.
Gotta watch out for this this Medusa, though. He's gonna get sandwiched on. There's that petrifying gaze you were talking about, and the Susana right on top. He needs to kill. There's help from the mid lane. Mr. Salmon takes it up. Number 3 for 9.
Not only that, the help from the Gold Fury, and Andre Sama just out of range for that snipe. He's gonna use that Golden Apple. It's gonna throw Mr. CL back into the mix of it. The knockup is good, but great Athlos finds 2 of them. One on the Mr. CL, or one on the
blink.
Going through. Mr. Salmon knocked up into the air. Great Athlos looking for a third, and he's gonna find it. Not the official triple, but will get himself on that killing spree. 3 members for only 1. Ragnarok getting a good early start on this Mercury.
That was very, very, very nice. I really want to point out what the Ganesh had there at the last bit. The chase down right there. Scylla gets out if you need to ward 2 doesn't find the silence. Her dash was coming up like within that second, and the elephant finding that one was really, it allowed the triple kill to happen, and that was huge. Should they have gone for the gold?
I do think that they should have gone for it, but I can respect the fact they didn't. They didn't know who was still around at the time. They did get 3 wiped off, but it is early in the game. The respawn timers aren't super long. Somebody can easily make their way back to if possible. So I like the idea of just going back and farming up instead.
Yeah, I think the respawn timers is the biggest key there. And just didn't have the damage in order to burst it down. Maybe a little bit later, especially like I said, as the Merc and the Medusa start to come online. It's going to be a big threat to the objective.
Great Athos kind of teetering around the mid lane here with you need to ward and Onrysama, but not really going to find anything. Just kind of grouping up, getting a little bit of farm online, and everybody's just waiting for the next big play to happen.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that really needs to rotate around that objective with the Gold Fury. Ragnarok right now has kind of put their foot forward. You got a little bit of a 500 gold lead. Now look to extend that and make it actually lead instead of just numbers.
Well, everybody's still kind of hesitant around this mid lane. Somebody just waiting for a fight to happen so that they can try and go for this Gold Fury, but instead they're just going to go ahead, farm up these mid camps. That will go, the left side will go the way of Ragnarok, and you need to ward on the Ganesh. You can just use that Ohm to keep the enemy team from initiating forward, keeping them from using their dashes or their mobility to get in and try and do something to the team.
It's Nine this time making the rotation over to the Gold Fury. They grouped up. Maybe they were even expecting Ragnarok to really look for it. I think they kind of had the same idea, like just analyzing the enemy team and being wary of what to look out for. And so I like what Nine did. They collapsed on the Gold Fury and they just kind of postured themselves there. But a fight in the mid lane here.
Athlo's gonna be able to get 2 with the Sonic Boom, and the Major Look will finish it on the monster from Salmon. And it's not gonna do enough for it. He's gonna get the Sentinel out through the wall. Great Athlos and Almighty Keck just waiting in the wings. The blink through Athlos. He's going to help Almighty Keck find the kill onto it. 3 quick kills for Ragnarok off of 1 big Sonic Boom from Athlos.
Fury and the solo kill on the left side. Dawn Devourer falls to Kuroka. The Gold Fury's wide open. Ragnarok going to take this, the team fight and the objective as well. And remember how scary it was when the Mercury on the other side got ahead?
And now we have a Mercury with 5 kills at 10.5 minutes. This is looking a little reminiscent of last game, except now it's on the flip end.
Yeah, and Athalos getting that early kill early on. I mean, this is Ragnarok playing the way they played in Game 1 and Game 2 for sure. It was dominant then, and it's looking dominant now. Mr. Salmon has had a much better game here than we saw in game number 1 and 2, and I think that's a nice mitigating factor because it's the level of dominance I think is there as well, but Nine didn't have an answer. This time Nine seems to have an answer.
And one thing I really liked that they did at that Gold Fury was this time they put somebody forward, because Leonidas was hanging around that mid lane. We saw what he did last game at the Gold Fury, getting 2 3-man fearlesses in it, 1 to push them off the Gold Fury, 1 to get kills, and then to help set up for the remainder of it. This time they left the Ganesh forward, probably the best god in the game to fight against this tier. Because of his passive, he can't be CC'd for more than a second, and then once you start throwing DR into it, I mean, that's where it makes that 1 second even less and even less and even less. But with you need to ward on the Ganesh, he has that constant pumping silence of the Ohm to make sure that he can't get in.
Yeah, it's those ticks that you want to look for when it comes to tier. The enemy jungler falls down. They just blew up Merc. That's what Nine need to do. Just collapse like that.
I mean, they did it to really both of those junglers, and Keck, he's going to get Mr. CL all the way here into the mid lane. Mr. Salmon taking a lot of poke. Those bounces from the Unruly Magic dealing a lot. He needs to leave, but a great Sikkim from Salmon may have just saved his life. Leonidas going to get the beads out of Onrysama. Tower is down. Strife not going to connect. And that's going to be the end of the fight as they drop down that tier 1 tower.
Onrysama, that was very interesting. I'm not sure if she saw, so she pre-beats that. She didn't get hit with a single take of the Fearless crowd control whatsoever. And so I don't know if she saw it like on her camera behind her, or what I think would be even more interesting is if somebody called it. And somebody told her there was a tier directly behind her. It's kind of neat.
Well, you can see that there was a sentry ward up on that corner of the mid-camp pit, so it's possible they may have seen them coming through there, just caught a glimmer of them and didn't really turn to them, but didn't really turn to them or anything like that. But just to have the timing on that also was just very knowledgeable for him. But overall, great play there from Henri Summon, not getting hit by that fearless.
Yeah, it was definitely the ward vision. I wanted to point out Nein doing a great job around that Gold Fury before we got interrupted by the mid lane team fight. But now Ragnarok just doing it one better and doing the Hunter one better. Kuroka gets the kill, this time assisted by the support. Last time it was a solo kill. Another way, 4-1-0 for the Medusa, and 3-0 for Double D.
Hasn't been the best game for Dong Devourer here, as Kurokawa has just been putting on a clinic with this Medusa, and it's only the early stages of the game as we start hitting these mid and going in towards the late game with this Transcendence fully stacked up. The attacks boots and the Executioner. I mean, if this Medusa goes into crit, she's going to be hitting really, really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now with the Transcendence, she already is hitting really hard with respects to her abilities. I mean, Transcendence is going to give her so much power. Her abilities are scaling at 70% on the Acid Spray and 100% on the Ultimate. That power makes her swing so hard. And the way both of those abilities work is you're hitting the entire team with them during the team fight. So it's really relevant damage.
And it's kind of the one good thing about Medusa is that she does have that hybrid style for her damage. She is damage focused with her auto attacks, but also with her abilities. It's a great mix of it. So going this Transcendence augments both ends of that. It makes her enhanced hit harder as well as her abilities.
Yeah, she's able to really kind of play both sides of the coin. There's a box drop down. Dong Devourer going to roll out of the way, but he's definitely still slowed. Mercury out of nowhere, and Dong Devourer dropped off of the top.
I mean, that was just the flip up for him. He dove through that pillar, then he gets knocked up by the Ganesh, stunned out by the Sonic Boom, and then thrown against the wall. I mean, it's just the alley-oop for him. Like, yo, here you go, Mercury, take this one, have fun with it.
Yeah, that was, and this is a higher level thing that Ragnarok are doing and Nein kind of aren't, and Dong Devourer on the individual level need to kind of be aware of. Both teams have this Gold Fury timer, and Ragnarok are going to coalesce and get ready as the team in the lead to look for this Gold Fury. Dong Devourer, this entire area around the purple buff and the rock forward, this is not where you need to be by yourself. At this precise moment when you are behind and the Gold Fury is about to spawn. You know the enemy team, or you should know rather, that the enemy team is going to be here local and in a group. So being by himself here, Dong Devourer, this is one of those tricky things where most of the time this is a safe place to be, but because of the specific scenario that happened right then and there, he couldn't be there. Beads are going to get him away from one of the issues, but Kuroka just running this left side after the fact.
I mean, this is what happens when your Medusa gets ahead, or just your Hunter in general, but now he might be caught out here. The crush through. Aegis is going to stop that one. The Sikkim not going to hit. Beads pop. I'm a monster, not going to hit either. Kuroka is here, and the Apple is here as well. Pillars drop down. Kuroka turns it around, but Salmon gets him with the crush in the back. Just caught him looking a little too long.
Thank God. Thank God. Kuroka just almost got away with murder there, but the last second, they denied the appeal. Here comes Athalos streaming from the right-hand side all the way to the left, cutting the team fight in half. Almighty Keck way up north, looking for the solo kill on the Salmon Man. Mr. Salmon able to flop his way upstream underneath the tower. He'll be safe here, but the chase on the left-hand side is Mr. CLO.
CL, he's going to be able to get under the tower. Wallbringer over the wall from Leonidas. And that's going to deter the team from continuing to chase under the tower, but it's just a lone tier 1 tower, not very healthy. I'm surprised they're not going for it right now. Instead, just gonna steal away this purple buff and move on.
Yeah, the reason we don't see Ragnarok go for the tower is essentially that jungle's up. They want to strip the experience from the enemy team. Here comes an ultimate on the Dong Devourer. Mr. Salmon trying to deal with the jungler. 2 separate targets. Gotta pick one, because if you don't, you're gonna get slapped like that.
Ooh, I'm a monster slams right down onto Almighty Keck, and one more shot from Dong is all it's gonna take to drop him down. Crush gonna hit, need to ward, but he's gonna be able to dash away using our move offs. And over the wall, and we talked about it, Kurokawa with the petrifying gaze. The apple not gonna hit. and that's going to spell the end of that. If that golden apple would have hit, that could have been disastrous for Team 9.
Yeah, real talk. That was Nine just unable to, or excuse me, that was Nine wiggling out of a scenario where Ragnarok were focusing 2 separate targets. The split DPS didn't allow either of them to die, and instead the turnaround burst damage from Nine was huge, especially after Leonidas was able to make things happen with the Fearless.
Pyro's up, but Henri and Kurokawa are here, and there's no way that Nine, as unhealthy as they are at the moment, are going to be able to continue this Pyromancer. Kurokawa is going to throw out the Sentry Ward to de-ward up that Fire Giant pit. And you can see it's all control on this right side of the map. Wards, we talked about it yesterday, how wards win wars, but right now it's looking just like it's a blue pit of wards here. Athlos gonna ult forward. He spots Anjax. He's just trying to find the one punch onto him. Gets one crit. Gets knocked up by the Typhoon. Needs to turn his sights onto somebody. The ult's in from Dong Devour is not gonna find anyone.
I'm mad. The hesitation. Trust your instincts and go for it. The reservations the Mercury has once leaving him empty-handed. Solo Keck has to go find it. The objective is done. So Ragnarok, you know, they don't fail. But man, what could have been? Athelos, look left, look right, look left, look right. If he just chooses, he might even get both, but he definitely gets one.
Look, if you just turn right 3 times, you're eventually looking left. I mean, that's all you got to do. Eventually, you'll get to that point where you're looking at the correct. I'm not wrong on that. Try turning right 3 times, you're looking left.
You are correct, but I mean, that just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right.
No, I just said I'm left now.
Listen, you already made 2 wrongs don't make a right. But 2 rights make an airplane. Mine's better.
Time for the show.
Mine's better.
All right. Well, okay.
Actually, poll in chat. What's better? 3 rights make a left or 2 rights make an airplane? I like mine.
We'll go with it for now, I guess. We'll see. Almighty Keck gets stunned out by Mr. CL there on the RTO, going back onto it like he did last game. I mean, not quite the same transition, not quite the same impact. He's kind of been the target of focus in these last few fights, having the most deaths on his team, 0-5. Andy as well, not having the best time, 2-4 on the Susano.
Susano has been a nice selection here. The 2, 4, and 5 is, I mean, 100% kill participation. He's been effective. He hasn't been carrying the game like he kind of needed to, but that's why 9 are down but not out. He's found his usage in these team fights, and he has been valuable, but not able to launch off. That's over. Next story. We got to start looking at Mr. Salmon now to be a hard carry.
Almost starting up the Fire Giant. 5 people here. Kurokawa taking just a little bit of poke from it. They're going to go ahead and leash that one through. The Strife going to hit, but not going to really do anything to the side of Team 9. They're just backing up, and again, we have the good old standoff here at the Fire Giant. Mr. CL gonna be knocked up. The Sonic Boom on Mr. Salmon. The ultimate from Kurokawa, but the Typhoon is big, hitting 3 people. Kurokawa is at very low HP. Mr. CL is trying to get in. The ult's not gonna be enough. Dong unable to find the hits, and great Athlos. He's gonna turn it around and pick up 2 big kills of his own.
The power of Mercury, baby. Meanwhile, Dong Devour can't land the shots. Here comes Merc from over the wall. Dong Devour in a little bit of trouble. Double Fearless with the power cleave off the mark, and Leonidas gonna fall down as the great Athelos rises to his namesake. 8, 3, and 4. He picks up trips in that one.
Dong, this is not where you want to be. I mean, you need to ward could probably solo you on his own with this Ganache. Fire Giant's getting bursted down. Salmon's trying to get in. Salmon's trying to go for it. He's got it. He's stealing away with the crushed Salmon. Coming up with the big plays.
You gotta be aware. Oh, Salmon doing exactly what his team needed him to do. Fantastic stuff. I told you, JMac, this is going to be the focal point of the late game for 9. It's going to be all about Salmon. If we go to a game 5, it's going to be because Scylla was able to make things work.
That was the same play that we saw last game, not with the same results, but the same idea of Dong Devour is putting himself out of position, distracting the enemy team, so that way somebody, Salmon, can come in and make the big play. While it's not a through space and time directly onto Kurokawa and followed by a Mercury, it's still something big getting the crush steal with the Fire Giant.
This could be a little bit dangerous. Ragnarok going to give them the respect, allow Nine to pick up the Gold Fury, but look for the fight after the fact. The box dropped down, and Leonidas going to use CC immunity.
No,
CC
that's
one,
not
CC
good at
two,
all.
CC2 later.
Great Athlos is going to pick up 2 of his in that one. The ultimate from Kurokawa is going to be good. Andy Jack's just trying to run away. Kurokawa not going to find it with that acid spit. Knocked up is Leonidas and dropped down. Great Athlos picks up a 3rd kill in the fight. 3-for-0 exchange after the Gold Fury. Ragnarok is screaming all the way to this tier 2 tower.
Yeah, this is the mid lane jungle synergy. The jungle mid bond for Ragnarok seems very, very strong. Anarasama and Athelos the Great have been just that. They've been able to go ahead and do what they're designed to do. Andy Jax is supposed to be pulling players in and crowd controlling them from Mr. Salmon to just annihilate. And we're not seeing that synergy. We're not seeing Andy Jax really find the crowd control that he needs to really make this happen. If Nine are going to be able to get back into this game, which they got back into it because of Salmon, and then they just kind of lost it right there. They're going to get back into it, JMac. It's going to be off of the jungler. He needs to step it up here.
Currently looking at the graphs, it's 7,000 gold, 6,000 experience. Not a huge deal here at 24 minutes, but it's a lead nonetheless. And you can see it a lot with the mid lane builds here. Did still see that Warlock session. Mr. Salmon this time, he finished off very early, has that fully stacked up here. But great Athlos, looking at him, he's got 5 items online and has that blessing ready to sell at any point. Likely towards the Titan's Bane that we saw last time from Andy Jackson. I mean, he's 11, 3, and 4 at this stage. What do they got to do to shut this Mercury down?
Be careful. They need to be careful. They need Midgardian mail, or excuse me, they need Midgardian mails on some of their carries. Itemization. Midgardian mails on their tanks. I finally got there. I want to see Midgardian mails on their tanks, and Nine just has to be very careful, and they have to use their incredible burst on Athelos. Salmon has to look for Athelos every time. If Merc lives, I mean, you saw over by the Fire Giant, Mercury died, but got a double kill while he was going down. You need to delete him ASAP.
I mean, it's got to be Sick'em, Crush, I'm a Monster, all in that sequence there. Bait out the Aegis because he didn't go beats. If he gets caught by Sick'em, his only way to live through it is the Aegis. So you need to bait that out early so that way Salmon can just one-shot him if he gets caught.
Yeah, that's why he has the Aegis, is that because, you know, he can Aegis the burst from Nine. There's extended damage there, sure. There's sustained DPS, but you're getting bursted, and you're going to be the target. You know you're going to be the target. The Aegis, I don't mind the pickup. I would have liked beads and Aegis, to be honest with you. But if you are going to go this direction, the Mercury should probably buy a Magi's cloak at the very least here.
Mr. Ward here on the Elephant's going to take quite a bit of poke from Team 9. And caught by that Sick'em Crush. See how much damage it's doing to the tank. Imagine how much it could do to Great Athlos if he gets caught out by him. I agree with you. I think that if you are going Blink, you're going to need that Aegis because against a Scylla, against an RTO, if you get caught out here, the damage is just going to be destructive between it, as well as Andy Jack's able to yank you in and have that Typhoon ready to go.
Yeah, Andy needs to be more involved in identifying a target and getting the kill. Whether that means that he's initiating, and I don't think he needs to. I think what Andy needs to do is make sure that he doesn't get caught in the initial craziness that is Strife into Merc ult. The combo's really nuts, but if everybody's grouped up and he's stepped aside, he might have a better chance at pulling somebody out and getting killed.
Killers drop down. They're burning through this Fire Giant. No one's gonna have a chance to steal this one away. Mr. Salmon too far, and then Mr. CL not able to get that one over the wall onto the RTO. Not the easiest time to steal it away from that. Now all 5 members of Ragnarok grouping up. Onrysama gonna go ahead and go back to base. Took a little too much damage from the Fire Giant for his liking, so he'll go back, finish up his Soul Reaver. It's gonna give him even more burst potential for this team, and tier 2 towards that Titan's Bane for Great Athlos.
Yeah, I like the Soul Reaver. I think the Soul Reaver is nice. because we've seen the combination. It's the Strife laid down, everybody gets messed up, and they're going to lose a ton of HP as well because she drops her Dizzy Ball on top, and then Great Athelos just bang down the middle as soon as players are done being mesmerized or Cobra's kissed. Madness. That's the word. And as soon as players are done being madness, they just get even madder IRL because they get smacked in the mouth by a Mercury. So Ragnarok have a very scary initiation here. Nein needs to make sure they're not grouped up for it.
I think madness is a very appropriate name for that CC because you get hit by it and it just makes you mad. Not just in-game, but IRL. You're just like, come on, man, this thing hit me again.
Yeah, because it's one thing when you get taunted, right? When you get rooted by the Discordia nonsense, or you get taunted by getting hit by one of Serket's stars. But then when you get the madness, you attack your teammate nonsense. You're like, why am I walking towards you? What is doing extra damage? What's happening?
Why did I have 100% HP and now I have 10%? And why does it say that you dealt 80% of that damage to me? This doesn't make sense. Something's not going on here.
Yeah, it's if two or more enemy gods are hit at the same time, they're afflicted with madness for 1 second, forcing them to attack each other for additional damage, by the way. It's pretty silly.
It's a pretty decent amount too, 50 plus 10% of the magical power, and it's gonna hit him a few times with that, but now they're trying to go here onto Mr. CL. Leonidas getting caught out here. His Ankyla's gonna be burned. They're going through
silence,
knitting onto it, and Kuroka gonna be the one to get that. I don't like the sonic boom to try and confirm that one through, but that's gonna be. Oh my! Where did Salmon just go? He
just
got deleted.
Oh my goodness! The Mercury on patrol here. 12, 3, and 5. And Rasama answers back as well. 3 players dead. They're going for the end.
It's just Andy and Dong here to defend against the height of it. It's already down to almost half HP, and everybody is still so healthy. Andy's trying to get the burst. He's going to pull everybody back in, but he's going to get knocked up. Kuroka's going to deal the killing blow, and Team Ragnarok, they're going to deal the final shot to the Titan and be your North American Smite Little League champions.
Fantastic play. Well earned. What a treat it was to watch these guys do it. 12, 3, and 7, the final slash line for the jungler who went out of his mind. Ragnarok GG coming through and just showing what it's like to really play really intelligently and powerfully. I liked a lot of what I saw tonight.
I mean, from both of these teams playing so well, Nein having that beautiful game 3. So we had this opportunity to come here into the game 4. And Athlos taking the Mercury away from Andy, recognizing that was a problem. Very likely there was a Giannis ban in there, taking that away from Salmon, saying that was a problem here. It wasn't the RTO necessarily. It wasn't so much the tier. It was the jungle mid synergy that we saw in game 3 that got taken away from them. And we saw it come back even stronger with Ragnarok in this 4th game.
Yeah, I mean, the synergy that we saw between Ragnarok was really, really impressive. And you know, so there's when you talk about synergy, right? Everybody goes, oh, you got to be like Rival. You got to play with your friends and you know, never give up, never surrender. And roster changes are bad. And that's a whole separate conversation. But there is a skill called, like, the ability to work with other people and to adapt to situations and other teams is a skill in and of itself. And if you are very flexible and adaptable, well, if all 5 of you are, then that synergy can be built up rather quickly. These teams have played for a couple of weeks now, right?
Yeah, these teams have been playing for the better portion of the last month or so, and you can really see the synergy that is built up amongst these players here on Ragnarok and why they deserve to be the North American champions of the Smite Little League. And we now have the option for you guys to vote for your MVP. Who was the best player from that last game? I'm looking a lot of Great Athlos on that one.
Great Athlos, yeah. Great Athlos played really, really well. Special shout out to You Need to Ward too.
Oh, 23.
This was his best game of the 4 games that we watched. He came through, 23 assists. And the total kill count, just a big part of it. You Need to Ward was really nice there. Whoever set up the drafts for Ragnarok also gets a nod from me. A lot of synergy, a lot of intricacies with the combinations and and I went into detail with the DR on the last draft. Really interesting draft synergies coming out from this team as well. So I think they earned it sort of with their brawn on the battlefield and with their brains in the pick ban phase.
And it's one thing to really mention here, and I think that's what makes this set even more impressive, as I was just reminded here that this is the first game all season, not set, first individual game that Ragnarok ever dropped during this season, and Nine was the one to do it to them. So here in the grand finals, Nine bringing just that's a small but a big victory for them, is taking the complete undefeated record away from Ragnarok, really showing their stuff into this one here.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the key, is the ability to, wow, I didn't realize that. How much time, do you know if these guys like practiced a lot behind the scenes, or?
I'm sure these guys had probably been scrimming against some of the other big North American teams here. I mean, they were 4-0 during the season, and now they come through here into the quarters, semis, and grand finals. Only dropping a single game through the entire duration of that is just insane. And we have been informed that the great Athlos on the Mercury is your Game 4 MVP.
Yeah, no surprise. I mean, again, I give you a shout out, Ward 2. You have a terrible name, so I don't know about that one. But 23 out of 25 kills, that's I see you, support man. I'm with it. I see you, buddy. But Athelos, yeah, it's hard not to just appreciate Mercury. Like I said, it was Nine had a nice team fight where they isolated the Mercury, they collapsed on him, and they killed him. And Mercury still took 2 out with a major look at a basic attack. Like, just what a game. What a game.
I mean, a hell of a set from both of these teams all throughout. Every single game was just back and forth. Now, it seemed a little bit more dominant for Ragnarok earlier on in the first 2 games here, but really we saw the competitive level of both of them in game 3 and in this game as well. Nine putting on a hell of a performance here, and Ragnarok as well. But I thought we do have a little special thing here. We can go ahead and pull in one of the players here for a very special interview. If our oh so lovely admins, I'm going to go ahead and let him know to pull them in here. We're going to have Athelos and the coach of Ragnarok coming in here in just a second. So we go ahead and get set up for that one. He was not in the call with us, so he didn't know I had to type to him. Typing is a thing of the past. Everybody needs to stop typing and just do everything with voice. So, Athelos and Navajo joining in for us from Ragnarok. First off, guys, congratulations on your victory here in the Smite Little League.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
So, Navajo, you are the coach for this team, correct?
Yes, sir.
As F. said, I have to give a lot of props to you on to here for putting together the drafts throughout this entire grand final stage. I mean, the drafting was insane for your team here.
Yeah, we had like a definite game plan that we wanted going into these. We have studied a lot, looked at the games that we could, the matches that they already played. So we kind of had an idea what they were going to play, and we just wanted to try to get someone that gave us good chances across the board against them.
The interaction between the characters was really high as well. I mean, I almost already know the answer. I mean, that was definitely planned, right? With all of the intricacies and all of the crowd control. It's been really beautiful, really smart drafts.
Yes, sir. They were definitely planned. I especially the last game, like the biggest like example of it is one that we didn't have coming into it was Ganesh. Like we found that on the fly. Just because the third game, our biggest struggle was that their front line was just too much for us. Like their RDO and their tier were just destroying our back line. And so I was just like, we need something that just makes them feel sad when they go in. And Ganesh does that perfectly. And then it turned out that their comp didn't have any dashes, any slow immunity. So it's like Ganesh ult is OP against that type of comp. So we just really was perfect place, perfect time.
Not only that, I think up against the tier as well, just because of tier's passive, it's hard to really lock him down. But Ganesh probably one of the best gods to do it because his stuff isn't affected by DR. He has the pumped out silence from the Ohm. He has the knock up through and then the ult just to apply the slow to it. So I think the draft, especially in this last game, was very well put together. And Athlos, I got to give you credit, man. These level 2 rotations that you made in game 1 and in this game here, this game didn't work out as well for you, but game number 1, going from speed to back to red and getting that kill through in game number 1 on the Achilles, very well done by you.
Yeah, that was definitely our strat. I give all the props to our coach, because we picked up a lot of the strategy and it revolved around the early game, and that was something we struggled with, like being behind at that early. So
yeah, specifically against them.
Yeah. So we just drafted in a way. We just did our early rotations in such a way where we couldn't lose the early game, and then it just did wonders for us.
Yeah, the Mercury was really impressive there at the end of it. Curious to where was that? Is that just a pick that you have, or did you? I mean, Nine there. Andy did a great job with it in game number 3. Did y'all specifically take that away from Andy, or were you just kind of showing him how it's done?
Well, a little bit of both. All the times in scrims, I would always yell at him to let me play Merc, and he'd be like, "No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work here. It doesn't work here." I'm like, "But I don't want to play Merc." Now, he's not my only guy in my Godful. I have, several, whatever,
We
right?
saw.
But it came down to it where Merc was one of the problems in the third game,
for sure.
and we're like, and we wanted, we knew we took the Giannis off the table, and so we were like, "Can you play? You want to play Merc?" And I was like, "I think I'm ready for this."
I mean, if you're gonna beg me for it.
Yeah, he constantly asked me to build comps around Merc, and we did it a couple of times. But I was like, if they're gonna just Merc and kind of set the pace with it, we're just gonna take it off the board and let you set the pace. And he got behind early, but he really did a good job of farming back up. And when we came to team fights, he was definitely like doing a huge Merc things of just popping people everywhere.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's what Mark does. I actually had a question about your the preparation. How often did you guys like find time to scrim and everything?
Huge props to my team. They're very committed, and I'm really appreciative of how much time they gave me. We would scrim a couple times a week. Some weeks we did at least like 6 scrims, and then other weeks I think our lowest was like 2 scrims in the week. And more than that, they would then review with me every game afterwards, and that's where like they made all their progress. Because like if I could go back and show you the match ideas from the first couple games that these guys played, like this league was a success for them because they started as very noticeably like silver players, but they listened. They had really good attitudes about everything. About like, hey, like, yeah, that was something that we did wrong. We shouldn't have come into a red that way. We should have grouped better. We should have focused the right target better. All that type of stuff they were really responsive to. And so I'm like really thankful how much time and like good attitude they had for all this.
Right, and you can definitely see the discipline in these last few games that you guys had. Especially, we pointed out in game number 3 when the enemy team, when Nine was shoving up the Phoenix and you guys held the defense there. You guys didn't chase after them after they got low. You sat back, you realized they have a fire giant, they can regen. We're not gonna just see red and go for the kill here. You guys really showed a lot of discipline in this set here, and it really goes to show why you guys are a nearly undefeated team throughout the season. Your first game through here that had to sting a little bit. You're like, we're right there. It's the last game. All we gotta do is win, and then you lose it there. But bring it back into game number 4. I mean, you can't really be too mad about it.
Yeah, for me, it was so we won the first 2 games, and it got me pumped, and a lot of my energy, I think, translated into our team. So we were just going and going and going, and then we got the game. We dropped game 3, so we lost a little bit of that momentum. But I was like, I need to pick myself up, or else I'm just gonna bring everybody down. So I had to self-motivate myself, and then I think it really encouraged everybody else to play at their best.
Yeah, I mean, you guys pulled out all the stops, and you guys put in a lot of work and everything, and that's fun. Like, it was definitely work, right? But you guys had a lot of fun. I want to kind of get your take. I want to get both of your takes on like just straight up, what was this experience like? Was it what you thought it would be? And are you down again?
You go first, Al.
So I came into the Little League just not knowing what to expect. I was feeling like I was gonna hard carry a lot of my games. I'm like, I'm just gonna pick my team up. I'm gonna pick my Merc, pick my Circuit, and I'm just gonna win us the games. And then we quickly realized that, that's not how this works.
It's so different. And actually, let me interject. Talk to me how different this is from ranked.
So I play, you play ranked enough, and then you just get used to being the ranked mentality of you are your own team. You don't care about your team until 25, 30 minutes, and then you might group up. And the fact here is like you could start grouping up at 12 minutes, and that was like unheard of in my world, in the world of ranked. You just with no comms, and then as soon as you add comms, you add all the information of timers, who's got what, who has beads, when do we need to be here? We need to rotate to pyro after gold. So much more was interlaced into it. And that's something I've always been missing with Smite, is that just those little intricacies and that big teamwork.
Navajo, yeah, man. How was this experience for you as a coach?
I loved it. I've seen, because I kind of get to check in on all the other discords for all the teams, right? And I've seen how it can go bad, and that's why I'm super thankful that the team I got, because of their attitudes about everything. Like, that's the biggest difference maker, because there are some teams that fell apart in the first week of this. Like, I'm sure they came in, they got some struggle, they lost a game or two, and they just quit. And so I'm really glad that my team was able to have a good attitude about everything, be positive, and say hey, we want to improve. That's the point of this league. If we're making mistakes, it's a good thing because it gives us stuff to learn about. And so they really put their heads down and grinded it out. 2 weeks ago is the first time we scrimmed Team 9, and we knew that they were going to be our biggest competition at this point. And they I'm gonna be honest with you, they blew us out of the water 2 games in a row. Yeah. And I said, this is really good because we've been scrimming people who are not challenging us, and now we get to fix some of these weaknesses that they've exposed. And
yeah, so you got to learn to lose to win.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And so I'm super thankful I have a team that can lose, because some of the teams that were in Smite Little League couldn't do that. And I've heard a lot of stories of rage from coaches and from players, coaches who would flame their team, and then teams that would just AFK, stop listening to anyone, and flame everyone on their team. So I'm just really thankful that it didn't happen on my team, that we all had really good attitudes. They actually, I think, are all friends at this point. Their character meshed together really well.
Is that how that went, Athalos? Did you guys kind of get closer and kind of make friends from this?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a butting heads at the beginning, because we all have separate personalities. We have our quiet, you have your quiet person, then you got the 2 people that butt heads, and then it just kind of didn't mesh together. But then once we took a step back and looked at how we viewed everything, we started coming together, and we kind of started joking a lot more. The mid jungle synergy came through. The duo synergy really came through. That was it was such an amazing experience, coming together like this, and coming along all the way from week 1, where we were just not the same team.
So obviously, when it comes down to it, the coach is the one who kind of makes the early calls on the picks and bans, the drafts. Kind of, here's what you guys kind of need to do with this draft in this game. When it comes down into the games, you always got to have that one person who's making the calls. Atlas, are you the shot caller for your team, or is somebody else the big caller for the team?
So for the first few weeks, we were experimenting with it, and we were trying to find our groove, So it was kind of up in the air, really, for the first few weeks. And then we grounded it out to one person. And then we finally, in the last week or 2, we really fixed our problem, and we narrowed it down to I was the fight caller, and then we have Almighty was our objective shot caller. So whenever we weren't doing a fight, we were all right, let's go do this objective. He would call that objective. But when we're in the middle of a fight, we're 5v5, doing the fire dance. I'm making calls. I'm all right, Scylla, go on this one. So for a lot of it, I was shot calling a little bit of it, but there was also the counter of Almighty, just the clear-headed, we need to do this overall. And I'm very in the moment shot calling.
Yeah. There are numerous times in scrims and in games where they're let's go to Phoenix, and Almighty's maybe we should just go to Fire Giant. I was we're going to let that guy be the objective caller. He makes a lot wiser choices most of the time.
And that's great to have that, is not just having a primary shot caller, but having that counter to it, because, like you said, Atlas, you're in the middle of the fray. You're trying to, punch 5 people in the face right now. And meanwhile, Almighty's in the back, you got that, but that's cool and all, but you're kind of low, and we should probably back up so that way we can do this over here. So it's great to have that counter mesh up onto that one, to have your guy to be, you're just heated right now. You're just a little too high on whatever you're punching at these guys. Let's take a step back. Let's get this tower. Let's get this, pyromancer and whatnot, to really be able to capitalize on every moment of the game.
Yeah, it's a joke because I listen in on their comms when they're playing games or whatever, and Almighty, for the first 10 minutes, you hear him speak about twice, and they'll say something along the lines of, oh, this guy just uses old TP down on their Kakolin. That's about all you hear from them, and then 15 minutes when they start grouping, he's the one shot calling everything. He's we need to back off, go to goal. We need to fight here. We need to group up here. He comes alive at 15 minutes.
That's just the most solo lane, comms that you'll ever hear. It's just, all right, guys, TP down. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Hey,
like
guys,
everyone's
guys,
over
not
at
in the lane.
gold.
I don't see where he's at. He's been missing
We're
for
all
about 30
fighting at
seconds.
gold, and he'll just be like, "Oh, his blue just spawned," and we're like, "Okay, thanks, thanks, Almighty, thanks for the
I'm
info,
like,
dude."
I'm sitting on purple. I can't go to blue right now.
Ah, you're playing Mercury. Just ult across the map. Get his blue
Right.
buff. Come on, what are you doing?
It's really funny dynamic because we're all of us are very traditionally a part of our roles. So solo lane, you don't hear from him for 20 minutes. And then the mid laner's just giving out information, oh, I got his beads. Okay, yeah, we got timer on this, timer on this. And then at me as the jungle, I'm just like, I want to kill this guy, I want to kill this guy. Now we're going to go kill this guy. And the duo lane's just like, all right, we got this. I'm going to silence it. Just like very true to the nature of the roles.
It's great to see that dynamic from you. Well, congratulations, guys, on winning the first ever Smite Little League Championships. You guys are the firsts for North America. At least Europe did have their matchup earlier today. But
I got 2 questions before I let you go, though. Let me butt in. One, Athel, dude, it sounds like you got bitten by the bug. Are you a competitive player now?
Oh, it's not fun unless I win.
There we go.
And the follow-up was, you guys, this great story about teamwork and getting better as a team and individually. The combine, something you guys are looking at?
We're already talking. We already have another team that we're like to practice up against. So future tournaments, I think we're a solid group of people, even though we come from like quote unquote little league, like a gold and under, that perspective. But we're looking to be better as a whole team.
That's awesome.
Well,
Hey,
we'd
shout
love
out
to see
you,
you guys.
F. Super appreciate you coming in and doing this like on your own time and everything. I reached out to you on Twitch like 4 weeks ago when it first started, and I said, "Hey, you should come do this thing," and you were like, "I'll check it out." And so it's just really cool to have you here because we watch SBL every week, and we all obviously care about Smite to be playing this. So it's really cool to see someone as high up as you come in and participate in something that you don't have to. Like you could just ignore me on Twitch and no one would ever say anything about it. So like super appreciate you willing to come and do something like this.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said it yesterday, and I don't know how long y'all been watching SPL, but like I started as a community member, like with a picture on my Instagram of like my green screen in my mom's attic, right? Like I started posting on Reddit and streaming to 3 people, just like anybody else. So, it's kind of funny, like I'm broke, but I can still give back somehow, And at the same time, it's just like, listen, if I wasn't working for Hi-Rez, I'd probably be trying to cast this anyway. So no, it's awesome. It's more like, thanks for letting me, come down and be doing this. It's, I love what I do. And I love the story of you guys, like getting a chance to interview you and talk to Athelos and you and hear how exciting this was for you. I mean, that's why we do what we do. So no, just thanks for taking part and putting yourself out there.
Thank you guys so much.
I mean, that's why casters like F. and I are here, is because we care this much about you guys, to the fact that we'll sit here behind a mic and talk you guys up. And when we hear these kinds of stories, that's what makes it all worth the end. You could for guys like me, who I'm not with Hi-Rez, I'm not making anything off of this. This is just me coming out to have fun. This is what makes everything worthwhile. Sitting here on a Sunday night yelling into the empty void of a wall and a dog who occasionally decides to chime in or so onto the cast. I mean, this is just the best thing ever. So.
Is F not the dog? Oh my gosh, that's rude. He's taking his own time to come over here and cast, and you're calling the man an animal? Wow. That's rude.
I mean, let's be real. F. doesn't have a dog emote, but Aggro does. I don't know who's the real dog fan here. So
That's fair. That's fair.
But thank you guys so much for coming out. Congratulations one more time on winning the Smite Little League for North America. That's going to do it for us here on the Smite Little League. That was Athlos and Navajo from Ragnarok here.
Can I say one more thing?
All right, what you got?
Wow, you took it to roll right out of him, dude. Okay.
3-0, 3-1 if we're trolling.
Calm down. All right, you guys can ignore him.
Sit down, be humble.
Had to get it out there.
All right, thanks everyone for coming out, and hopefully we will see you guys soon with some more Smite Little League action into the future. Everyone, have a great night.
Have a good night. Bye.
See ya.